It's so crazy to think that the only time they did a two-part episode with Drake and Josh was the series finale, Really Big Shrimp. I feel like Drake and Josh was the testing ground for how much they could get away with, which is why it's interesting that they did Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood, which was that three-part episode at the end of season 3, and Merry Christmas Drake and Josh. Both came under completely different contexts, but they were definitely both really good. I don't think either were like a misfire, but we should dive in and figure out which one is really better anyway. It was such an experimental time for Nickelodeon. It's interesting to see them attempt a three-part episode, but think that they didn't need the laugh track to go with it. Like, they just assumed that since this is like a movie event, it's going to be without a laugh track. But at the same time, they didn't want to put it in theater. And at the same time, they also used the same production value with all their sets and everything. So it just essentially was a Drake and Josh episode. I don't know what they were trying to trick us with by taking out the laugh track, but it's a little spooky sometimes. It's funnier in all regards. It definitely is funnier, but it's a little spooky. So let's go over both Drake and Josh specials and see if they really did get a fair chance, and there's some pretty big differences between these. Let's start with Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood. This came out in January 6th, 2006. Kind of a crazy time to come out, honestly. And this is actually after episode 11 of season 3, Sheep Thrills. So there was like this big gap, like probably 6 months, where they didn't have anything, but they did have the Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood movie. So the episodes, I would say, they were about like 30, 35 in when this movie came out. So we should already know the characters. I feel like Megan is just on the cusp of getting older, and you could tell like throughout this special. For me, you could always tell if something's like really being taken seriously as a movie, if they make some drastic changes that separate it from the sitcom. And I think not having the laugh track is already kind of what Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood thrives off of, as well as the opening sequence. So the opening sequences in movies like this are really important because, you know, you don't have the theme song like usual. This isn't just another day in the lives of these characters. This is a bigger deal. And they do a good job at giving a lot of shots of San Diego where Drake and Josh live, and even show us the house in this more cinematic light. I don't know if you noticed, but in Merry Christmas Drake and Josh, they actually go even further with the cinema here. The cool thing about feature films are that there's always like one big inciting incident that makes the whole conflict in the story fall down a hill, and this is Drake and Josh getting ready to play at this huge event. Josh has just become Drake's manager through this and is trying to help represent him. They have this like really cool light machine that ends up like shooting laser beams everywhere, and it goes crazy, which is perfect for Drake and Josh hijinks. Like, it feels like a moment out of the show. I don't know what this lighting is though in Drake's room. Sure, I wanted it to be cinematic, but it looks like it's just a dark room and Drake and Josh are the only things being lit. Sorry about that. Megan announces that she's gonna go visit her friend somewhere off a plane. Josh is like, oh, congrats, go ahead, have fun. Josh calling to get a multi-million record deal is so funny because it's like, why in the world would that happen?
Backbeat Records.
Yes. I'd like to inquire about getting a multi-million-dollar record deal for my brother.
So Josh's only responsibility as his parents are going on vacation is to take care of Megan and take her to the airport, which is funny because he's getting so wrapped up in being Drake's manager that he actually messes this up. They go in a little bit too late and actually rush and get her onto the wrong plane.
Los Angeles? Mm-hmm. Not Denver?
No.
Those dumb boobs.
And this is something that happens a lot in Drake and Josh episodes where they have one goal, but then one of them makes a decision that is actually so stupid that the rest of the episode is them undoing that one goal. And that is essentially this entire movie. Seeing them at the airport, driving a car, are places we haven't really seen Drake and Josh in the series, so it's really exciting to like show us these new places that we never got to see before. It's so interesting because usually movies take you into another location. Merry Christmas and Drake and Josh didn't, but this show did, which is kind of interesting because this is less cinematic, but they're going to more cinematic places, and in Merry Christmas Drake and Josh it's more cinematic, but they're going to all the usual places, which is also an interesting thing. Drake and Josh acting goofy, like trying to jump onto the plane, reads so differently without a laugh track. For some reason it looks like we should be really concerned for the air pilots. Like, I don't know why, I see this and I'm like, maybe something's actually going to be dangerous. Next thing you know, they're gonna have to get on their own plane plane and get to Los Angeles, where they accidentally sent Megan. So now they're trying to track down Megan, and Megan is just like getting to the place and trying to make the best of her situation, because she's just frustrated that these guys even made her get on this plane. Seeing Drake and Josh on a plane is probably my favorite highlight of this special, because it's like, not only have we not seen him on the plane before, a plane is dangerous, it's like scary, and seeing these wacky guys who just tried to break onto the plane is even more concerning. Like, what?
Hand me my ointment!
Oh, kill me.
And somebody falls on Josh's lap, which does not need to happen, but it's so funny it does. They give Megan actually the best treatment, even though she was sent on the wrong plane. They send her a limo, they get her a hotel, they hook her up with all the nicest stuff, because obviously she's a little girl lost in a new city. Like, I feel like that's honestly a really fair thing to do.
Oh my God.
And things get even more intense while at the airport of LAX, Josh hears a record producer, and he's like clearly trying to get Drake a deal, so he takes the laptop and puts it under the bathroom stall for him to notice it. Isn't that wildly inappropriate?
Oh, you found my laptop.
I've never heard of something more scary than if I'm going to the bathroom and you just slip a laptop to me. I don't care if it's Frasier. I'm not gonna be watching it. So yeah, this guy gets taken back by Drake, and he's like this really legitimate producer. So Josh is like, yeah, let's do this. And they actually make a plan, since they're in LA, to go meet with this guy. It's so funny that they choose to focus on Drake's career in only the specials. Like, Really Big Shrimp, this special, like, I mean, they have the Rain episode where they're getting ready for a concert, but I feel like when we're trying to take Drake the most seriously is when we have an hour at most. So while it seems like a win that Josh booked Drake on this show, we learned that they actually made another mistake. Josh had a tech mate at the airport and accidentally switched it with a criminal's iPod. What did we call it in the 2000s? I think it was like an iPod Nano. Yeah, it's not an iPod Nano, but let's just call it an iPod Nano just to be funny, you know? So yeah, Josh switches the iPod Nanos and has this one that actually has a lot of criminal activities, leading these two gangsters to show up at Megan's new hotel to confront them. I don't know how in the world they got this information, but they finally get Drake and Josh and kidnap them. Drake and Josh avoid getting kidnapped by actually stealing a famous person's car and driving away, and it's building up the danger and the stakes rising. This next part really scared me, but definitely gave me like the high stakes of a movie. Is like they get pulled over by these two FBI agents, quote unquote, and they are told to get out of the car. But it turns out it's not actually them, it's people working with the kidnappers, and now they're all taken. We don't really know what the kidnappers are doing quite yet, until they manage to lock Drake and Josh up in this cage. Something that I was not expecting, considering Megan was the one in all the trouble so far. But it's cool, we actually established the stakes, that it's like more than important for Drake to be at this event, and we already have something that is going to put the chances of all of this going haywire out.
That was not gentle.
So Drake and Josh are dealing with the most real situation they've ever had to deal with.
Oh, hey fellas.
And I feel like in the 4th season, it actually gets kicked up a notch when they work with those criminals, the ones that end up robbing their house, which is kind of crazy. I wish that was the plot of this movie.
Happy anniversary.
But this is good too. So they find out that these guys are just going to be printing a bunch of money. Just in time, Megan found out too and is actually able to get to this place, save Drake and Josh, and stop these criminals. Basically, their plan is already ruined by the time other people show up. Megan ends up taking a bunch of money and using it though, so I don't know what the legalities are with that, but all I know is that the situation gets resolved, and it's really funny the way everything kind of comes together. And I love how it's just like plot after plot, and all these like issues coming up. It's like perfect storytelling in a film format. So in the end, Drake ends up getting to the show on time with Josh. And yeah, so it's like Josh wins as his manager, Drake gets to perform, nothing really huge comes of it because we're not ready for that yet. Everything seems to resolve itself, so yay, happy ending. Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood, a very good movie special. Especially after watching this whole show in its entirety. I mean, you guys could check out, I covered every individual season of Drake and Josh in a little bit of a retrospective format. Let me know if you want me to redo any of them, because it's been getting a long time since I started those. But yeah, so Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood, really fun movie event, and definitely cool to have in the middle of the Drake and Josh production schedule, because that means we got the peak of these guys' performance. Unlike the next one, Merry Christmas Drake and Josh. And there's a lot of really cool differences, a lot of improvements, but also a lot of steps back. It starts out pretty awesome because we have an awesome opening sequence. I don't know why, for me, the opening sequence tells me how seriously they take these movies. And we start with like a snow globe and all the characters' names coming up in a similar way they did in Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood, to just show that they're serious about this. No laugh track again, and this time it's actually shot on location, which is a lot better. Drake is driving through the car, and we actually get to see all the town, and then actually Drake and Josh's house, which is cool because we only see them in establishing shots before. This is also when iCarly started to air, so that's the only thing that's really weird about it, like seeing Jerry Trainer in this not as a main role, knowing he's the main role of iCarly.
I distinctly ordered a diet root beer, and this tastes like shit.
I'm talking to children!
The parents go on vacation throughout this movie, and that's actually really funny, but there's not that much to talk about with it, so we're gonna kind of have to move on from that.
And that's the ocean, and that's a big rock, and this is your bungalow right here.
It starts with another wacky event with this giant float getting out of Josh's hands and flying down the neighborhood. Something really wacky, kind of like the lasers they had at the beginning of the last movie, but this one's even more intense. And this time we get to see the premiere. Seeing everything we saw before, like the mall, the premiere, is actually making the Drake and Josh world a lot wider than I thought it was. I'm so happy they came out with this movie, because at the time I was probably like on the fence about it. I thought that like the show was over, we weren't doing any more Drake and Josh, but this was a nice comeback. I feel like we just can't ignore Josh's new haircut and style. Like, he changes so much over the course of so many years. It's just distracting, but not in a bad way, in like a the show ages pretty well kind of way.
Haircuts?
Yeah, haircuts. I mean, look at that hair.
Unruly, that's what it is.
We get Helen back again, and I love Helen. She is so funny, and even funnier without the laugh track.
Going to celebrate my divorce.
Whoa, wait. You just got married.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks were delightful. Week 3 was unpleasant. Week 4 was downright irritating. By week 5, I was out the door. See you. Good riddance. No more Helen for you.
Track. I don't know why I didn't see her in Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood, but we should have. I feel like more characters should have been incorporated with that. But then again, the 4th season is when they really rounded out the ensemble cast, like Eric and Craig. So it's not a surprise that we didn't really get there in that movie. But this movie takes everything to the next level, bringing back all the people after Really Big Shrimp. We even get Gavin here, and Drake is Santa Claus, which I think is kind of insane. And Josh is the bag.
Hi, Sack.
Merry Christmas!
Drake ends up doing a little Christmas show on the top of the mall, and this is when we're talking about like our Christmas plans. Like, what are we doing for Christmas? And Drake is going to Vegas, which is kind of crazy because he's a kid. They talk about this every now and then, but I didn't realize they were still like this young. And Josh is kind of upset about it because he wants to keep everybody together for the holidays. Josh actually sees people like crashing Drake's Christmas performance, and then the cops show up thinking that he is the problem, and he falls off the roof into the back trunk, which I think is an outlandish stunt that really didn't need to happen, but it's a movie, so it's obviously a lot funnier that it did. I mean, I'm glad they had this. And Josh ends up going to full-on prison because of all of this. I did not expect that to happen.
I didn't do anything!
Shut up.
But it's funny because that's something you would expect to happen in a movie. Josh befriends one of his cellmates, and they actually start getting along after being scared, and Drake ends up having to bail Josh out. They end up going to the courtroom, being represented by Helen, which I kind of think is hilarious, and Drake and Josh are both at risk for going to jail at this point, so the stakes have never been higher. Oh, they're gonna go to jail because Drake tried to bail Josh out of jail, which is insane. I've never seen an episode where Drake and Josh go to jail, and I love that. That's hilarious. But yeah, so they're in the courtroom trying to figure out what's going to happen because of it, and then they get told by this legal guy that in order to get out of jail, they have to do community service, and that would be give this one specific family of kids without parents the best Christmas ever. And it's cool because it feels like it's not necessarily a Drake and Josh episode, but they're like the main parts of it, and I love that when they do that for movies, especially Christmas movies. So yeah, Drake and Josh meet the family, and they're all like the opposite of them. Like, one likes to jump all across the furniture, one of them doesn't speak at all except for gibberish.
We're looking for Mary Alice?
And it feels like very iCarly in this bit. Oh, and there's this sweet little girl that is like the most redeemable of them all, like trying to be the Cindy Lou Who, like the innocent one that's like, please help us have a good Christmas. And so they fail miserably multiple times to a point where they even lose their clothes at one point. By the way, they copied that from Zoey 101. It happened a couple years ago. You can't repeat all the old things. Megan becomes intertwined with the plot.
Either put on some clothes or join a gym.
As she actually starts helping the boys, which is funny because she's mature enough to be Carly Shay at this point, and we're just gonna ignore it because we want to pretend like Drake and Josh still exists outside of iCarly. So yeah, after failure, even Josh trying to get them a Christmas tree, things get worse and worse.
If you squint, it looks kind of nice.
And things aren't going well for Audrey and Walter either. Their entire vacation is screwed up when they're finding themselves at this like straw cabin on the ocean, and basically there's a giant storm and they're screwed this whole movie. Drake tries to connect with the rebel kid and actually give him advice, which I like. I like that it's about like insight and actually has a little bit of backbone and heart to it. Something that Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood didn't have. Like, it didn't need to introduce the characters again. It didn't need to establish all the goals before we knew what was at stake. Like, this movie does a good job of being full circle. Like, they do all the goal setting and the character arcs at the beginning and actually fully pay them off toward the end, making it more of a legitimate movie. So it's kind of cool that Nickelodeon definitely dove into this and used all the stuff they learned about making a good movie and put it into here. Because they make I'd Go to Japan after this, which is the iCarly 3-part movie, and trust me, it feels like they didn't learn anything. You got so good on Drake and Josh Merry Christmas that they didn't even do it good? I don't even understand that. So Drake does this whole performance for the kids to celebrate Christmas, and it kind of gets them in high spirits, almost thinking that the plots are going to be resolved, but then the prosecutor or the guy that's keeping an eye on them ends up telling the kids exactly what they're doing, which is like, hey, like, you promised you would have these kids having a good time, and the kids realize that Drake and Josh were not there to actually befriend them, but to just not go to jail. And it's kind of heartbreaking. The rebel kid and the sweet little girl are like, no! And they feel horrible. Like, they end up not going to jail, but did they really win in the end? That's when we get to this third act, which I think Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood didn't have. They didn't really have a lot of buffering room. They just kind of went from one thing to another and didn't need to have all these plot arcs. So Drake and Josh try to be redeemable characters and actually give these kids a Christmas they never had by doing the one thing that they thought would be a really awesome thing, making snow happen. Crazy Steve has this giant wood chipper throughout this movie, and he's like bragging about it the whole time, which also feels like a Spencer thing. Like, you might as well have just made this an iCarly crossover at a certain point, because Spencer is essentially in this movie as Crazy Steve, and we can't forget that.
My head is full of pretty lumps.
I guess this is just a whole Three Stooges bits where Drake and Josh are incapable of doing anything, so every time they try, things just get worse and worse. The prosecutor guy ends up showing up at Drake and Josh's house where they started having a full Christmas. Like, the kids ended up forgiving Drake and Josh, and everybody comes together to celebrate one last time while Audrey and Walter are away.
Honey? Hey, where are you going?
Home for Christmas!
And it's sweet. Like, we have a Christmas tree. We get to see the Drake and Josh house in a way we never had before. I remember when I was this age watching this special being like, dang, they never had a Christmas episode ever. Like, you know, you didn't realize it until the series was over that Drake and Josh had never really celebrated the holidays at all. So it's cool that this movie kind of filled in more than one experience of fan service. And by the end, everybody is able to forgive them. We even get a cameo from Mindy to show that her and Josh are still together, which I find pretty sweet. And yeah, so everybody wins in the end. The kid that never talked has his first words, which is such a stereotypical, like, movie trope. And then Josh's cellmate from the beginning of the movie comes back dressed as Santa, which is hilarious.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas, and all that stuff.
And the whole thing resolves with a nice day in the snow, and everybody gets along. The end. So Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood versus Merry Christmas Drake and Josh. You can definitely tell why Nickelodeon cared so much about keeping the things that worked about their feature films while not ruining it the way they eventually would ruin I Go to Japan or any of the Victorious specials, Iparty with Victorious, for example. Like, they just completely ditched the production value and cinematography of it all because I guess they just didn't want to do something that expensive again. But as you can see with Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh, it's worth putting the time and effort into this. I feel like Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood was the closest thing to doing an iParty with Victorious-like special, where they had an hour and 20 minutes, but were they gonna use it? Not really. But yeah, Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood, slightly better than all the other Nickelodeon movies that came after it, but then Drake and Josh Merry Christmas ended up sealing the deal and putting the best of all worlds into this.
That's crazy, Steve's enchilada.
Well, why didn't you leave a note with his name on it? There was no note. No.
So Drake and Josh is generally a episodic show, with not a lot of plot carrying out from one episode to another, which is why a series finale in general is an interesting concept for it. It's hard to judge a show that doesn't pride itself on continuity or character development when really it's meant to be one-off. But as a nostalgia YouTuber, I need closure. I followed this show for like 4 years growing up and then 50 years after it, even though I'm 28, I think. Recently, when I revisited all 4 seasons, it made it a lot more important that I got a payoff toward the end of my endeavor. So I wanted to go through again the finale of Drake and Josh and talk about if it really was worth it. I was surprised to find some interesting turn of events, like Helen getting married, Drake getting into the record business, even Josh becoming a manager. So do these new factors, these coming-of-age events, make Drake and Josh worse or better? Let's dive into the series finale, Really Big Shrimp. So Drake and Josh didn't do a lot of special episodes like iCarly or Victorious did, mainly one 2-part episode, and it was its final one, Really Big Shrimp. Now, as you guys have been told before on my channel, this episode is the finale. It's just aired earlier. I guess we're just gonna have to put that out of the way for a second. This one is about Drake's career, which is exciting. We kind of end on one promising note, and of course, it's everything that Drake and Josh needs to be. There's fighting, there's resolution, and there's a lot of fires. And of course, Drake and Josh being threatened to go to jail once again. Apparently, Josh ate Crazy Steve's last enchilada, so he's like freaking out and running around.
I didn't know it was your enchilada. I just saw it in the fridge and there was no note on it. No note.
It's all right. I understand.
And Drake is about to have a really important concert with a guy from a record label about to see. I guess they're putting this whole thing together for him to sing one song. Helen doesn't recognize Walter, which is hilarious.
Hey, who's the dude? Oh, that's my husband, Walter.
We've met like 5 times.
Well, I do not remember you.
No one does.
And she's gonna get married next week to somebody I guess we never met before. And they volunteer to take Helen's grandmother in for the wedding.
Ah, it's no trouble.
Okay, then I'll tell my girl whether she can stay at your house.
So Mindy ends up upstaging Josh at his own job. So on top of grieving their relationship like Josh has done in the past, it seems like he also has to deal with her getting hired at the premiere.
Mr. Krim, I think you know who this guy is.
Drake Parker, I'm very excited to hear you play live. Don't screw this up.
This song that Drake plays is like definitely one of the best songs in the whole show. I love that it's the finale and even better than the theme song, if that's not controversial. But Mindy's dancing in this, so this is kind of weird because she hates him. I don't know why she'd be so supportive. So the record producer says that they blew his underwear off, which is something Josh tried to coin. And they invite them down to LA. Josh says the album cover could be Drake in the ocean riding a black dolphin, which is so funny to visualize. The episode feels like at first it's trying to prove it's episodic, like setting up a bunch of stuff that seems like it could be resolved in one episode, but it's a lot more closure driven.
Have a little better attitude about this. We're doing a nice thing for a sweet old lady.
Where's the bathroom?
The grandmother enters and is like super overbearing as she lives with them, and Megan is told she has to sleep in Drake and Josh's room.
The 3 of you will be fine for a week.
Oh, this is horrible.
It's not that bad.
Oh, no!
Helen even says, Drake, I prefer him, when introducing them.
Lula, that's Josh. He works for me at the premiere. That's Drake. I prefer him. That's Megan, Miss Parker, and this is,
So they get to the record label, and Drake, of course, hits on the assistants. Kind of reminds me of Tori Goes Platinum in this scene, with this whole record label thing, but the only difference is Drake Bell ended up having a music career, and Tori Vega didn't really. Ariana Grande did, and she didn't have an episode about it. The executive, Nick, which is weird because, of course, Nickelodeon, his name's Nick, weird. He's kind of gangster, he's cool. So they want the song to promote Deka's shoes. Kind of reminds me of that episode, I Promote Tech Foot from iCarly.
Okay, just gonna do a quick mic check here.
Drake, just gonna do a quick mic check. Over.
You really don't need to say over.
Roger that.
Josh is really annoying in the recording studio. Of course, he, doesn't fit into this world at all. He, pretends he knows the lingo. And Drake even gets assigned an assistant named Frank, which doesn't really lead to much. The lawyer tries to give Josh the contract since he's the manager, but he's too distracted by the big shrimp to read the contract and just signs it.
But this sound booth costs like $1,000 an hour, so if you could just sign the deal.
Yeah,
Weird reason to sign it, but this is supposed to be a reference to the Amanda Show. On their last appearance on that show, they fight over shrimp, and that famously got them Drake and Josh. So there's a little backstory there, but I don't know anybody who doesn't know that already. So they get back to their rooms, and Megan has changed everything. Drake and Josh's entire room is now Megan's, essentially.
You had no right to feminize our room.
And things get a little bit worse.
Highly intelligent and has no criminal record.
Dang it!
Even Helen names Mindy the Premier's manager. Josh is super upset. Josh tries to make it personal that Mindy is the manager.
I didn't go to Helen, all right? She came to me.
You just like to beat me at everything, all right? It gives you some kind of cheap thrill. Always has.
Josh, that's not
You know, I've never felt better about the fact that we broke up.
Okay, I don't think you're being
You
entirely
forget
fair.
it. I'm taking a break.
Fair, Josh. You can't just make this personal just because she's your boss. So Drake and Josh go to the record label and they show them a poppy version of Drake's song, which sounds really bad, and Drake is super upset.
What do you think?
Whoa.
I hate it.
But apparently Josh signed a contract that said they had the right to do whatever they wanted with the song. Oh, geez. So Drake is super angry, and the two have a breakup, supposedly, as they always do, in the record studio. It's nice because since this is the finale, the stakes feel really high, and maybe they could potentially not make up over this, but obviously the episode order didn't help that. Drake is trying to get revenge on the executive by putting fruit flies in the guy's car, but obviously Josh tries to talk him out of that.
That when people play dirty, sometimes you gotta play dirty back. That's what you don't get. You always gotta play by the rules.
Rules are the foundation of a gentle society.
And he just feels terrible, so he goes to the studio to try to get him to do the other song. After being rejected again, Josh ends up switching the CDs. So the woman takes the wrong song.
Yeah. Hey, here it is. Oh, take a shoe commercial. Super Bowl final mix. Here you go.
Finally, everybody gathers to watch the Super Bowl where Drake's song is about to premiere, and they play the original song, the good song, and everybody's super happy, and we feel like it's resolved until Josh gets a phone call.
Oh, did you see the commercial?
You saw it?
Ooh, what did he say about you switching the songs?
He said it was illegal and a violation of our contract, and the record label's gonna sue us for $5 million. Oh, and we could possibly go to prison.
Is that my mom on the phone? Tell her I need new Batman socks. Why would I be talking to your mother on my phone?
Apparently, what he did was illegal, and he's gonna get fined $5 million and potentially end up in jail. Which is crazy, because it's how did you convey that much information over a less than 30-second phone call? So later, Mindy can't handle Crazy Steve, so the premiere is basically going haywire until Josh saves the day.
Mountain when she
Sorry!
He's actually good at his job. And hopefully they recognize it now. She admits that she has just signed up for this job to get closer to him. It's sad because it's everything feels a lot more positive, but we still have that looming threat of the record label over us.
Dude, wait. No, I can't wait. That was Nick Mateo.
The president of Spin City Records?
DNL everything.
Drake and Josh are called to Spin City Records, and Drake takes the blame with Josh, showing that they've made up about the situation, which is really sweet.
In the last 24 hours, we've had over 30,000 emails and phone calls from fans wanting to buy your song.
They end up liking that he switched the song, so he tells them they've got a record deal.
So, I take it we're not in trouble anymore?
On the contrary, we'd like to sign a multi-record contract with Drake.
which I will read.
Thank you.
So everything works out. Finally, we get one more moment, a wedding at the premiere. It's really sweet to look at this, especially since this is such a central hub to the show. And of course, a fire has to happen, so everybody evacuates.
Okay, we have a small fire. If everyone...
And they're stuck in the parking lot. But they make the most of it, kind of like the storm episode.
Okay, there was a little fire. We're a big fire.
And it feels like things are starting to slow down. The pacing's a lot more chill. Mindy and Josh fully decide to get back together, and Drake kisses a random girl.
Hi, I'm Drake.
Carrie.
Helen's upset at first, but then she realizes that getting married in a parking lot is just as romantic. And they throw Jake up on the truck, and he performs the song one last time, finally closing the series of Drake and Josh. Oh, this was such a good episode, and I love that they actually milked a lot of these moments to give more time and closure to it.
I want the shrimp.
I want it.
I want it.
Would you give it? Hey, no, give it. No, give it to me. No, I want the shrimp. Will you give it to me?
But don't cry too much, because now we're gonna have to get to the final 2 aired episodes. Yeah, so was that satisfying for you guys? I'd love to open a discussion to see if Drake and Josh ended the way it started. Was it strong? Was it necessary? I feel like this show tries so hard not to make itself seem important, not in a way that iCarly did, where everything was an event, or Victorious, where everything needed to have more episodes. They went out with a pretty subtle episode, trying not to get our hopes up or make anything bad happen. And for somebody who really likes the follow-up movie, Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh, I'd say I'm pretty happy with the way things left off. Like, we didn't need too much closure, but we also didn't shy away from having it at all. You know, like Helen getting married, everything going on was just necessary, I feel like. So overall, it's good that the first special of Drake and Josh just happens to be the best, and the last episode in general. If Zoey 101 was remembered for anything, it had to have been their TV specials, Chasing Zoey, Goodbye Zoey, Merry Christmas Drake and Zoey. Obviously some of those aren't real, but you get the picture.
Zoey 101, tomorrow night at 8/7 Central, only on Nick.
The double episodes are iconic, and I've been doing more videos on how they had these 2-part special events because they mattered a lot to us growing up. Zoey 101 started from the 2nd season and ended up having some of the most memorable episodes being these 2-part series. So I wanted to dive into all the special events that this show had to offer. So let's do it, guys. What's up, everybody? It's Johnny 2000, focusing on 2000s movies, TV, music, and so much more. Today, we're diving into the double episodes of Zoey 101. To start off, there wasn't many 2-part episodes in the first season, so we actually have to start at the 2nd season with Spring Breakup.
Nick Exclusives goes behind the scenes of the new TV movie Zoey 101 Spring Breakup.
Action!
What's going on with the PCA crew?
Chase sends a message to Zoey that he doesn't mean to send to her.
She hasn't read it yet, and I'm trying to sneak her tech mate away from her.
So, what about that banging crib?
It's so pretty up here.
I think my favorite part of the beach house is the backyard. It's got a huge pool.
Spring Breakup, a Zoey 101 TV movie event, coming to Nick Friday, March 10th at 8. This has been an exclusive from Nickelodeon.
See you guys later.
So I've gotten this wrong a couple times, and I'm probably gonna get it wrong a couple times again. I thought this was the season finale of season 2, but it turns out to just be episodes 10 and 11. Spring Breakup. This was such a big deal when I was a kid. Not only did it perfectly coincide with when we actually had spring break, but it was supposed to be the moment that Chase actually told Zoey she liked him. And it's all kind of hidden in this subplot as the kids go on this reality TV show.
It's the perfect time for you to tell Zoey you love her.
Man, when are you gonna stop with that?
So Zoey starts out on the computer, which she hasn't really been since the beginning of this season. Like in the first season, there was her communicating to her friends and family through the computer, and I don't know why it has to happen here. She's explaining that they're going to Logan's, essentially cutting out the idea that we have in Act 1 and lead into why they're going to Logan's. Like they're just talking about how they're just gonna go.
His dad's this major TV and movie producer, so the place is supposed to be like amazing.
Hopefully this makes up for the first season finale, which was just Little Beach Party, and I hated that. It didn't feel like it was anything interesting. This is going to be exciting. It's a cool concept off the bat, but it's kind of weird that there's no build up to it. And this is like the first time the characters are leaving PCA, which makes it a really notable episode. And for being Alexa Nicholas's last episode, it's also very nostalgic to watch, despite the fact I'm really upset the way they treated her. It's clear that Chase is trying to impress Zoey on this trip.
Ah, cologne!
No, it's medicine. For pimples.
Well, you must have some pretty sweet smelling pimples.
Like, Michael makes it important that he tells Zoey he likes her, but he's nervous because he doesn't want to wreck their friendship, which is, it's getting to be too much of an excuse at this point, Chase. You have to say something or you're just lying to her.
What if I tell Zoey I love her and she doesn't love me back? I mean, that'll make things so awkward between us. It could wreck our friendship forever.
But if she does love you back, then she'll become your girlfriend and you'll be happy, Chase, forever.
It's not worth the risk.
It is a good point. I feel like when we were that age, we definitely used friendship as a way to get out of relationships, whether we wanted to be in them or not. Some of us that used it as a form of, I don't want to be with this person, so I'm gonna say I just want to be friends. And then there were people that actually wanted to not lose friendship. They just prioritized friendship over relationships in their life. Like, a relationship isn't an upgrade, it's a downgrade for them. Meanwhile, I kind of see a relationship as something deeper than a friendship, but that's also just my perspective. But you could see why one wouldn't want to demote the other. Logan says he has a surprise for when they go to his dad's beach house, and I am terrified. Logan's surprises in the past have been very dangerous. So they're in Santa Barbara, and they meet Logan's dad, and the house is incredible. Like, Logan is truly a part of the 1%.
This is where you grew up?
No. I grew up in a really big house in Beverly Hills. We spent summers here.
Turns out they're actually testing a new reality show. Oh yeah, his dad's a film producer, okay. And it's about the gender wars, which is kind of perfect because everything that goes on within the Zoey 101 universe is based on gender.
Before you can make a TV show, you have to test it. And that's what you guys are gonna do.
I'm getting very child labor vibes. Like, they're not getting paid, but they're going to be the test dummies for a whole new reality show.
You're gonna be pitted against each other in a series of competitions that's gonna test you on 3 levels: mental, physical, and creative.
Yeah, I don't know about the film industry. Logan's dad gives the kids these things called tech mates, which is essentially a cell phone.
Well, they're a cell phone, address book, MP3 player.
They do emails, text messaging, web access.
Since they didn't have it back then, it was kind of a big deal. A new sign of independence where a kid could be in charge of their own communication. And I do like when Zoey 101 leans into the technology. It makes the plots a lot more interesting. So each of the teams have a team captain. Surprise, surprise, Zoey and Chase. Feels a little bit like the elections episode, but we're gonna move on from that.
And I'll be the guy's team captain.
Well, I think that Chase should be our team captain.
Okay, then we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor of
Chase.
Michael argues with Chase that this is the exact perfect time to tell Zoey he likes her, but I don't agree, Michael. I feel like if we're about to start a game show, this is not the appropriate time. Like, especially if she rejects him, like, we don't have time for that. So Michael and Chase are arguing, and Chase is just like, no, I'm not gonna. Even sends him a text message saying, I'm not gonna tell her I love her.
If I tell Zoey I love her, it could wreck our friendship.
In the unnecessary B-plot, Quinn is making an energy drink, and I don't know why they let her bring all of her equipment to Logan's house.
It'll give you 17 times more energy than any other drink on the market. So, is it ready? Not yet. It's too powerful.
It's kind of funny to think that they end up dating, and this is how they spent their first time meeting Logan's dad. Let's move on from that. So she invents this energy drink and leaves all of her stuff behind for Dustin to find it and drink it. Oh, okay, so Dustin gets a plot. It's not necessary, but it's a plot.
Yeah, I love this! It's like climbing stairs, but it never stops!
The next morning, Chase realizes that he texted Zoey instead of Michael, saying that he loved her.
Who did I send it to?
Zoey.
Zoey? Zoey? Oh my god! Oh my god!
So Chase and Michael are freaking out, and I would be too. If I was in that position where I accidentally told somebody I liked them without intentionally setting it up, I would be like, oh my god. Like, as a viewer, I felt anxiety for Chase. Like, this is well justified to freak out like this. Ugh, if I could go back in time, though, I would just tell her in person when I had the chance. But you know what? That would have been 2 seasons ago, Chase. I just think if you like somebody, you should tell them, and even if it's a rejection, at least it's something, and you have a better relationship regardless. pointless. And if you're not friends anymore, it's just not meant to be. You can't push something like that. But this show did teach me a lot about relationships, and I will never be Chase.
Message unread. She hasn't seen it yet. You sure? Yes!
So Chase sets out to try to get the phone back before Zoey can look at the message. Then we get to the actual reality TV show part of this.
Our 3 judges.
I don't know how the dad got so many judges to show up at his house for this test trial. Like, it seems like it's supposed to be in a studio if you're doing it. Chase manages to get Zoey's phone, delete the text, but he can't give her phone back. How does she not notice this? The first challenge is a scavenger hunt, and I wish this had a little bit more plot. Like, it feels like the scavenger hunt and all of this extra activities are just a layer for what we really care about, and it's Zoey and Chase's relationship.
You're the fastest. You take these numbers to Chase so we can open the safe.
I'm not the fastest when he's all full of frass. We got him bouncing around.
Yeah, give me those.
Go, kid!
Text message the combination to Zoey. Quinn, you're brilliant! Just do it!
The girls realize that Chase had Zoey's phone the whole time, and they think that he cheated. When they confront him in front of everybody, he cannot admit why he sent the text message. And I personally would have admitted it at this point. I cannot believe he wouldn't stand up for himself here.
Just tell me why you took it and I'll believe you didn't cheat. Tell me why. See? I told you. He cheated. I can't believe you do this.
Zoey confronts him and is like, if you're not cheating, why would you delete a text message? He tries to reason with her, but she just rejects him. And I would too, Chase. You're being really shady, especially considering in other seasons you tried to figure out her test results just to get closer to her. Like, this guy's a red flag altogether. Just tell her.
I can't.
Ugh, whatever. And they essentially break up as friends, which is so funny because you think it's gonna be like they get together and break up, but no, they are not friends anymore. Of course you're not gonna be friends anymore, Chase. You earned it. The next challenge is to make these nerdy looking adults cool.
He's 26 years old and has never kissed a girl.
I feel like this has to be offensive a little bit. They pretty much make over all these guys, and the team with the most attractive person by the end of it wins, which is super materialistic if you ask me. They end up going through with it, and the girls win, making a tie between the two. The judges are like, oh my god, what do we do with a tie? But you had to have seen this coming.
We have a tie.
Zoey and Chase have this really uncomfortable distance between them, which only escalates when it's time for the final match between both of the team captains. Of course, it's Zoey and Chase.
Try to knock each other off the pedestal and into the water.
First one to be knocked into the water 2 times loses.
With the other cast of characters staying on the sidelines, and they're able to kind of squirt their water guns, but you know they're not doing much. There's a lot of emotional tension as to who is going to fall, but if we know Chase from the election episode, of course he's going to do it on purpose. Apparently the events of the last few days were recorded, and they used this as a full pilot, so all the kids are going to end up on TV, making this like a really happy ending, I guess.
All the events were filmed by hidden camera. Take a look around.
How cool is it we're going to be on TV? You know the best part about being on TV is that...
Dustin ends up passing out from the energy drink, and that wasn't a plot at all. Like, at least incorporate the energy drink to happen to one of the other characters during the reality TV show part. I mean, it feels like the reality TV didn't even need to happen. So Chase and Zoey end up making up by the water fountain, but Chase still doesn't take the opportunity to tell her he likes her. So frustrating for everybody who cares about these people. And her hair, I just noticed, is a lot more curlier in this. The entire second season thus far has been darker hair, but not curly yet. And this is kind of initiating a new era because she starts wearing it curly all the time after this season. It feels a lot like the school dance episode where they kind of admitted that Chase liked her, and I don't know why it's a secret here, but he does it. He makes the decision to tell her, and he texts it to her. Oh, but even funnier enough, Zoey left her tech mate at the water fountain, meaning that it fell in after Chase's text sent, destroying the phone, and Zoey never finds out that he likes her. Wow. Crazy episode ending. I don't know how they managed to pull off a romance not starting this long. Like, we're 26 episodes in, or 25 or something, and they still didn't end up together. It's not even a will they, won't they, it's a will he, won't he, because she is not giving much to work with. Not only did she lie on multiple occasions, but she openly doesn't bring up the fact that he might like her. Like, it's so clear that he's giving that impression. So they're either liars and perfect for each other, or they are complete opposites and are are never gonna get on the same page. Either way, I don't really want to promote this toxic of a connection, and I hate that this is kind of like the whole backbone of the show, because when they lean a little bit more episodic and get into these short stories and get into the more sitcom plots, it's a lot more fun and we get chemistry between the characters. But if anything, Chase and Zoe's relationship makes it not genuine.
Okay. The message is...
But I don't know, ending on this note for season 2 is kind of nice because it's like they proved once again they could hit the reset button and give us more of the same episodes. But for me, it does feel like it's stalling the progression of the show. But everything changes when we hit the 3rd season, when we have more than a few 2-part episode specials. Okay, now it's time to get scary. It's time for some spooky music and a flashlight under the chin because PCA has a ghost story. The Curse of PCA, a 2-part episode, special 1 hour long. And it aired in October 2007, embracing the Halloween spirit fully. It was a wild departure from Zoey 101's like usual sunny realism and plunges into a supernatural adventure, which controversially is not a good thing. It definitely was paced in a way that I was not comfortable with. Like, you expect so much to go down in this episode, but I'm telling you, it's hard to even believe this is about a curse until you're like 30 minutes into it, I swear. The plot revolves around an old PCA legend of a student named Charles Galloway, who was stressed by an impossibly hard test, ran off into the hills above campus, and was never seen again. Supposedly, he left behind a very powerful necklace that perhaps has a curse with it. And of course, the gang is up for adventure, especially when it has nothing to do with their daily lives.
Lola says he can lead us up there no problem. And that he's super cute. Her words.
They hike to this cursed spot, and then a giant storm happens, and things start to go wrong. Like, the phones die, compasses spin, and the thunderstorm has, like, freaky green lighting, showing that they disturbed Charles Galloway's necklace. Oh, because they found it. Yeah, that's what happened.
And don't even think about trying to steal it, because we're gonna frisk you. Everywhere.
It's like veering into Scooby-Doo or like Are You Afraid of the Dark territory the way it's going. It's like a strong fantasy plot that's differentiating from the whole series concept. And Zoe's always been grounded up until this part. I mean, aside from Quinn's sci-fi technology, this whole special pushes that aside and is like, okay, let's just have an outlandish episode. They all have like a different experience when they all go out to the desert. And I wish this happened more so at night because it would have been a creepier vibe. We got Logan, who is like the treasure seeker and actually steals the necklace. Classic Logan. As they head back to PCA, they think they've left Charles Galloway behind, but that's when he starts coming up in really unexpected and terrifying ways. The great part is like how the characters are reacting to it.
It was Don't say it! Ghost! It was the ghost of Charles Galloway!
Like, Zoe becomes like this reluctant heroine because she actually breaks her ankle. That's why she's convinced it's real. Chase and Michael try to carry her out of the desert, and even Quinn, without fear, leads the charge to set things right. It's a nice flip because it used to focus on just Chase saving Zoe, but it's nice that like all the characters are kind of involved from now on.
We gotta go help him! You help him! What, the 3 of you are just gonna let me go in there alone? Yes!
And Zoe at least is a little integral in solving the situation, despite being injured. And I like that she has like something to overcome throughout this. It makes me more worried for her, especially when we feel like there's a curse going on. It's beyond me why it takes the whole first part of this episode to establish all of this. It's out of 60 minutes, 30 of it is Act 1, 20 of it is Act 2, and then they just do Act 3 in 10 minutes. It feels like so disorienting in terms of storytelling. And it's hard to tell if the curse is like real or just like a coincidence. The episode kind of plays it as if there are real supernatural happenings, a bold choice for a teen show. And even though there's like kind of a morality tucked in, it still feels like it's a failed attempt to scare the viewer. The only message they're trying to tell is don't take things from somebody's resting place. Like, it's good advice, but like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like the episode actually reflects what it's trying to set out to do. It's kind of an exercise in trust with the characters themselves, maybe? Like, they joke about the ghosts at first, but then when things actually get scary, they stick together. The stupidest part of it, though, is when Zoe sees the dead ghost on the nurse's butt. Like, I'm just like, why do you guys have to go there?
Did you call me buttface?
I'm sure they want to convince Zoe and make her look crazy, but like, this is not the way to do it, guys. It's so awkward. Culturally, this is like a love letter to the campfire tales stuff. Oh, apparently the episode was reportedly going to be titled Skull Rock, which would have been really interesting. Campy B-movie vibe. One of the things that was like really interesting is that Zoey was not actually available for a lot of the episodes, so the writers actually put her in a bucket. Yeah, they had her wear a bucket for most of the episode, and it was a part of the story, and they used a body double.
Why does Zoey have a bucket on her head?
So it's essentially Zoey's animated in this. She's not actually in it and voices herself. If you rewatch, it's like not that hard to tell. Even my friends seeing this with me automatically knew that this was not good.
Get this stupid bucket off my head!
It can't! Stop! Just hang on!
Ultimately, it's interesting that it took us out of the comfort zone, but watching it now, it's a little too campy, and it brings back a weird thrill that Stranger Things did way better, and I just don't like abandoning the entire tone of the show. Like, that's how I felt about the Sweet Life and Big Time Rush movies based off their shows. Like, they got sci-fi, and Zoey 101 going from, like, a comedy drama to a horror is kind of nuts to me. I feel like Chase and Zoey feel less and less like a relationship, and there wasn't actually any grounded situations except for the fact that like they didn't trust Logan and everybody was like kind of going against each other, but not even as much as the Zoey Ribs episode. All around, a confusion nonetheless.
Friday,
I might be leaving.
in a brand new Zoey 101 movie,
What are you gonna do?
Zoey faces the biggest decision of her life.
We can't let Zoe leave.
Should she stay or should she go?
Chase doesn't know about this yet?
There's something I gotta talk to you about.
When are you leaving?
That's all you have to say?
Zoey cared about your opinion the most. If you had said don't go, she'd still be here. I'm an idiot.
Find out in a brand new Zoey 101 movie. Goodbye Zoey, premiering on Nick, Friday night at 8.
Oh my god!
Zoey?
I'm sorry, my parents are here.
Goodbye Zoey is really something to talk about because it takes Zoey 101 to a level that I never wanted. Chase is beyond weird in this in ways that I've never seen him thus far, which is crazy because I thought the show was getting a lot better, you know? We start with nice cinematic shots of PCA and Zoey on her laptop like she did at the end of Spring Break and like she did at the end of season 1. It's just always Zoey on her laptop, I swear. It starts out as a pretty normal episode, not really obvious that it's a season finale. Zoey gets a message during class that her parents are here to visit, something that she's super excited about and not worried at all about her grades because she just leaves during it. And she's so rude on her way, she just expects everybody to get her there as quick as possible. It reminds me of one of those getting to your flight before the love interest gets away type scenario. And there they are, the blonde family, and they've got surprising news.
Are you having a baby? Mom!
No babies. No babies, right?
They are going to be moving to England and that Zoey and Dustin can come if they want. Dustin doesn't want to because he's got a girlfriend, which Zoey quickly corrects to tell him that they're not actually together, which I find super funny. It reminds me how much I missed Dustin this season. I feel like he was so much more prominent in the first 2 seasons, and it sucks that the peak season is the one that he is like the least engaged in. Like at least get one more experiment that Quinn can do on him, you know, like give him something to do. So Zoey tells her friends this whole thing without having made a decision yet, and obviously they're very distraught. Quinn is defending her the whole time because she's actually just trying to be supportive of Zoey, which I respect, but her friends are a little bit more defensive about the fact that she's leaving.
And do whatever Chase says.
You know he's gonna tell her to stay.
Exactly.
Stacy overhears this and becomes kind of a snake, leaks it to one of the reporters at the school just to get it on TV, which is like, come on, Stacy. I know you were like unlikable, but at least just have some positive traits.
When is Zoey leaving?
Where's Zoey going?
She's leaving PCA. To go where? Some boarding school in London?
That's in England.
Mark gets to Chase first, asking if he's upset that Zoey is leaving. And obviously Chase thinks that she made this decision without him.
Zoey didn't tell you? No, she didn't.
When did this happen before? This was the exact plot of the middle episode of this season, The Radio, when Chase gives Zoey the radio, doesn't know how much it's worth. She finds out before him, and then he assumes the worst of her, and then they end up in a huge argument, and then they get snippy with each other because one expected something over the other. And it's like, guys, this exact thing is copy and pasted here. Chase is kind of just peeved. Zoey shows up at his dorm, tries to talk to him about it, but he just acts super cold. He's like throwing darts. He's like, oh yeah, heard you're leaving. Great. Don't hit yourself on the way out. And there's a Death Cab for Cutie poster in Chase's dorm. I didn't even realize that they were promoting this. Zoey's off put by Chase's response, kind of convincing her to leave.
Well, see, I wanted to talk to you.
When are you leaving?
Could you stop throwing darts?
No, I gotta tune up, but keep going, I'm listening.
And her friends are even more heartbroken because they relied on him to ask her to stay, knowing that she definitely would if he asked, and she tells him it didn't happen. Michael tries to get through to Chase by talking to him, but it just doesn't work out. And I like that this isn't repeating the older tropes they used to do, where it was like Michael telling Chase he needs to tell Zoey he likes her. Like, this is telling her he needs to stay. It's not super based on feelings toward one another, at least at first. Chase is still in a rotten mood, and Zoey just seems like she doesn't care either. And as she's heading off with her blonde family, she gets one moment with every character to say goodbye. Every character except you know who. So Chase didn't even show up to her send-off, which I would be really angry even further if this happened to me. Like, you could at least say goodbye. I don't know why Chase is this petty that he needs to put up this facade. Like, your best friend is literally leaving. I don't care what you feel toward her.
Zoe left.
Oh yeah, today was the day. Hey, listen, do you think you can help me with my serve? Because if we're gonna win this tournament, I really need it.
Later, Michael actually confronts Chase again and is finally able to get through to him like, hey, you made a mistake. She didn't intend on leaving until you told her to. And Chase is like, oh God, I'm an idiot. So next thing you know, Zoe's on a plane and Chase is regretting it immediately. This whole miscommunication lasted way more than one episode. I remember the promotions for this gave me the impression this was the series finale of the show. I mean, Goodbye Zoey. I really like this as almost like a series finale anyway, so it bothers me they didn't kind of lean into that. And with every character having their moment with Zoey, like, I'm fully convinced this is where it ends. Like, don't give me this sentimental moment if it's just gonna be them back in the same scene next time.
In case you guys need an extra key to the room. Thanks, Zoey.
Chase is trying so hard to apologize to Zoey, but obviously he can't get to the airport, he can't get to England, so he's gonna video chat her. He finally gets to reconnect with Zoey, explain his whole side of the story, and she's kinda not here for it. Like, she doesn't want to hear it. He already disrespected her, which is fair. I agree with you, Zoey, but in return, you should come back. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Chase expects her to just come back. Like, I don't know why he thought for a second that's how it would work. He essentially gets thrown off the deep end trying to figure out how he's gonna feel about this whole situation, if he can even adjust to life at PCA like this.
Do you hear anything?
And you know what? This is where it gets insane. Chase brings this girl named Gretchen, another blonde that looks exactly like Zoey. Like, this has got to be like her body double or something. Chase keeps bringing this girl that clearly doesn't even want to be there. And he doesn't even seem like he likes her. He just seems like projecting onto her everything he wish he could have done with Zoey. He even gives her a key, which she does not care about, to try to replicate what Zoey had. And that's where it gets a little psychotic.
Now you'll always have your key. Maybe later we can paint it together.
This is stupid.
All right, to Sushi Rocks.
I hate sushi.
Logan and Michael are super concerned for him, and I would be too. There's not really a B plot in this, but we do get a funny moment aside from the plot where Stacy moves in with Lola and Quinn to assume that Zoey really is gone for good.
Then I went to my roommates and I said, would you girls be upset if I moved out of here and in with Quinn and Lola? And before I even finished the question, they were helping me pack my stuff.
Chase calls Gretchen the Gretch, and I don't know if that sounds like some kind of discontinued Muppet character, but it's not Jamie Lynn Spears, I'll tell you that much. I guess the friends realize they should be having an intervention for him because things are just way off of his rockers, and if I were them, I would have thought this has gone too far and moved out of Chase's room. And then we kind of get the moment we've all been waiting for throughout this entire series, and that's kind of how you know Chase isn't going to end up on the show much longer, because why would they throw out his whole storyline? Because the character leaves. I know he mentioned in a podcast recently that he wanted to go back to school, or his father wanted him to go back to school, which kind of seems like a bad reason, but for me, I'm like, wow, that's like such a more worthwhile experience than being on the set of this show. So good for Chase for getting out of it. But while the boys confront Chase about Gretchen and how he's using her to replace Zoey, the webcam is recording. So Zoey actually is able to hear this whole conversation. And this is one of the craziest things. He admits how much he's in love with her on screen.
I don't just miss her. I'm in love with her. I've been in love with Zoey ever since I met her.
Is there any crazier way to end a season? You know what? Zoey 101 gets a little bit of credit for this, although I feel like it's not as quality as any other show ever. This is definitely how you do a really good season finale. Like, could you imagine waiting for something like this? Like, these answers are so important, and I need them right now. There we go. end of season 3. I wish it ended the show. That would have made people mad. It would have been like really annoying not to get the closure here, but it would have been better than the entire 4th season, which I guess we're gonna have to get into soon. Let's enjoy the fact that we got through this whole 3rd season of 26 episodes. Definitely one of the longer chunks I've had to do on a Nickelodeon show specifically. But yeah, how do you guys remember feeling about this finale? I feel like when we think about Zoey 101 in retrospect, we definitely remember this part the most. And I wish it did end here. We got really good moments with Zoey and the rest of the cast. If anything, that second part is what kind of undid all the things that made it meaningful and then turned it into one big joke. I mean, up until the very end, of course. I know from a production standpoint, this isn't considered a double or even triple part episode, but the fact that this first episode takes exactly where the season finale of 3 left off, I had to count it, especially the commercial. It makes it seem like it was this big event, so I had to break a few rules to put it in this video.
It was the Zoey 101 that changed everything.
It's okay that you miss Zoey.
I don't miss Zoey. I'm in love with her.
Some things are easier to say when you're an ocean away. But Sunday night, Zoey's back.
I gotta go talk to Chase. Wait, don't! Not yet! Mark! Find Zoey and stall her.
Stall her how?
We gotta get to the guy's dorm before Zoey does.
There's just one question. Where's Chase?
Just tell her.
I'm not telling her. You're her roommates. You guys tell her. Zoey! Chase isn't here.
If he's not here, where is he?
Find out in a full hour of Zoey 101. Brand new back-to-back episodes premiere Sunday night starting at 8 in Teen Nick.
Okay, so season 4 of Zoey 101 starts with an episode called Trading Places. And unlike previous season premieres before, it's the only one that the characters aren't literally walking onto campus being like, new semester. Not sure if you were caught up on the drama of the previous season, but there was this whole Goodbye Zoey incident where Chase said that he loved Zoey over a webcam and she overheard it. Being the heroic romantic he is, which is sarcasm, I think his crush on Zoey is borderline scary with how much she gives him back. He ends up going all the way to England to meet up with her. Turns out she's gone by then. We kind of hop in right where we left off, which is kind of cool. It almost feels like a 3rd part of the 2-part finale. And we see Lola, Quinn, Michael, and Logan all playing basketball.
Here I come. Hey, foul!
Zoey makes her grand return to PCA in a car, and they're basically like, what the heck? Lola takes Quinn's glasses and cannot believe her eyes. If this were me, though, I would be kind of insulted. Like, if you were really my friend, you would definitely have been able to tell me over the phone or over text that you are going to return to school. It feels kind of cold that you just show up one day and you're like, by the way, best friend I've known for my entire life. I went through a grieving move process because it shouldn't be that easy to just come back from another country. And they're like so excited to see her. They don't care about the disrespect, I guess. I'm sure that they just knew that kids wouldn't care about something like this. Like, friends are just supposed to take from where they left off, which I don't know. I think I would be communicatively challenged in this moment. Everything's different though because Chase isn't here. Zoey tells the girls that she heard Chase admit her love and is basically here to see them. They're like kind of visibly shaken, and we learn that they're trying to stall her for as long as humanly possible, which I don't know how long you're planning on stalling her, guys. They try to warn Michael and Logan about Zoey coming over, but it doesn't work because they're playing with their helicopter. So they have to rely on Mark, Quinn's boyfriend. The worst possible person. He ends up even pushing Zoey. Like, that's the only way you could distract her. I like that Mark is becoming more of a main character. It just kind of feels like a band-aid to the fact that Chase isn't here anymore. I'm not sure if you guys heard the podcast, but the actor playing Chase, Sean Flynn, was actually on the Ned's Declassified podcast and told them that he left because he wanted to go back to school, which I think is really admirable. His dad kind of prompted him to go back, and it didn't seem like a great thing at the time because obviously he was on a hit show, but it was definitely important for his development and education, I guess. They fail to stall her, nearly like fighting out the window, trying to keep this a secret. And then we're cut to England where Chase is looking for Zoey. It's revealed right then that Chase is not back this season, but it's cool that we get to see a glimpse of him. They basically traded places, thus the title of the episode. Zoey feels like kind of betrayed, and the two meet up over video chat to kind of discuss it. And this would break break my heart. I feel like when I was at this age, if I had a crush, my biggest fear would be them moving away or have a relationship finally connect and you're actually leaving. Like, that's just, to me, that's like the ultimate love drama. And that's kind of what they're going through. The only way they could talk is through the internet. And it is very topical for this day and age. Although Zoe's shot looks really fake. It looks like there's no way that that's a real video call on her end. Same with Chase. I feel like if they knew what video chatting was supposed to look like, it would be a lot more casual than this polished, framed square, I guess. It does remind me of the photo booth that used to be on the Mac computers in the Apple store. I don't know if you guys grew up going to the mall and hanging out, taking pictures, but that's what that reminds me of. Chase and Zoe actually attempt to go on a real date at Sushi Rocks, but Zoe brings her laptop and Chase is just on his computer at night. Definitely Uvu vibes here. There's a lot of technical issues, so Chase kind of has to guide his way through the date with tech support, which has a really thick accent and I find kind of offensive looking back. Like, you didn't have to put on that accent. Plenty of people do phone support that aren't that race. Chase kind of looks like a psycho on Zoe's side of things. If you see any of the shots, it's kind of funny. He keeps being badgered by his roommate who's trying to go to sleep, which I feel bad for him because there's like such a big time difference. Like, it's so hard to maintain some kind of long distance relationship like this. And everybody in the cast starts to feel the pressure as Zoe needs to call on Lola and Quinn to help just keep the computer going. And Zoe's just trying to keep this relationship. It's kind of sweet because it's like seeing Zoe and Chase try to be together, but I still feel like now that she's confronted with the fact he loves her, she's not giving him the same energy back. Like, she's not like, I love you too. She does say I love you too right before they click off on their date, but I don't think it's enough. Like, Zoe, you've not put any work into this relationship, and finally when you're like across the globe from each other, then you're gonna act like you care. And she's like barely even trying. Like, she's getting everybody else around her to help her. Like, I don't know. I don't think this relationship's worth it. Sorry, Chase, and sorry, Zoe. It's just not working for me. But yeah, interesting start to the 4th season.
History, and everyone's falling hard.
I just lost my balance.
Hey! Hearts aren't the only things getting broken.
Awesome. Hey, man.
In the brand new movie, Chasing Zoey, premiering next Friday at 8, only on Nick.
So episodes 12 and 13 are Chasing Zoey Part 1 and Chasing Zoey Part 2. So everybody's getting ready for summer, talking about their plans, and apparently Zoe's going to be going to Hawaii to be a cabana girl. I don't know why you're not aiming higher, like something academic, but I guess this is good for you, Zoe. And meanwhile, James can't go with her because he's working with his dad over the hardware store. A really unnecessary backstory that was added to James in the diner episode that I don't think we need to revisit. Meanwhile, they're playing this really ridiculous game that everybody puts their finger in this little device and it shocks you. Kind of reminds me of playing Operation when you're trying to take out all the body parts from the guy without getting zapped. That was a throwback. In Michael's subplot, he reveals to Lisa his new car that's a stick shift, and she's like, you don't know how to drive it? And I vaguely remember this premise. Like, I remember when I was learning to drive thinking that stick shifts were different because of something in Teen TV, and I definitely think this must have been it. So maybe that's what we're going for here. In the meantime, everybody's getting ready for this prom, and Lola is so excited because she is going to be the one in charge of it, and she asks Quinn to do everything for her, which is kind of disrespectful. Quinn can't do the prom committee, so she can only find Stacy to help her. Lola gives her assignments that more so have to do with her personal life so she can work on the prom stuff, which isn't technically an incorrect thing. Like, I get you need more time to do it, but I don't think you're supporting the prom by doing Lola's chores. I don't know, Stacy. Meanwhile, Logan is telling Quinn that he asked somebody to the prom in order to like kind of make it look like they're not together. She obviously gets really angry. Meanwhile, James has good news. He wants to go to Hawaii with Zoe. It's really sweet because she also gets a necklace and he says, I love you with it. I don't know if you noticed, but right before he gives it to her, she's on iCarly.com. Like, look at this screenshot. Oh my gosh, it's not subtle at all. Meanwhile, Michael really wants to learn how to do a stick shift, but doesn't know how until this random old man comes by and he serves as like this Mr. Miyagi type, trying to teach him how to do a stick shift, kind of like it's a super big karate dojo type situation.
That's very nice, but...
You want to drive stick shift?
Yeah, but...
You wish me to teach you?
Sure.
When Zoe gets the bracelet, she's a little bit conflicted about it because we get a blackout, and usually don't get a blackout unless you should be scared of something happening. Zoe is nervous to say she loves him back, and Lola and Quinn are really annoyed about it. They're like, how could you not? And it's like, okay guys, give her a break. And then Michael finally gets his first lesson with this really scary guy that keeps appearing in the parking lot.
What?
You cannot learn to drive a stick shift until you learn to drive a stick shift.
He asks him to make him food for him, as if it's going to be a part of the stick shift situation, and he does it anyway. I don't know why you'd believe them, Michael. I'd be scared of this man. Quinn decides she's going to take helm of who Logan will take to the dance. They both have to bargain of like who it's going to be, and it's definitely a funny trope. I can't believe they're still trying to hide this relationship. I didn't think it would go on for like 6 episodes. I thought there was like some amount of time where we actually did see them together, but I guess it was all in hiding because nobody here knows. James even spots the two and they keep it a secret, so they're still ashamed. What can you do? We get a peek into his plot because apparently he can't find Zoe. She's not meeting at their usual places, which is kind of sad because they're kind of a good couple. I feel like they were really working out for what they were, and seeing Zoe so spooked when she finds out that he loves her is definitely scary. This old man invites himself into Michael's dorm and gets him to feed him once again, and he's stepping on berries in this moment. Like, why does Michael have to step on berries to make him juice? Like, this doesn't really help anybody. It's definitely reminding me of the Mr. Doheny episode of Drake and Josh, where they keep inviting himself into inappropriate parts of their life. Like, this man is just inserting himself. When Michael approaches him about conning him and trying to get him to make food for him to eat, he realizes that it was a part of the lesson to learn how to drive a stick shift. So he gets to drive all throughout the parking lot. Yay! Next thing you know, Zoe has to confront James about the fact that he loves her and she's not said anything back yet. A common trope in teen sitcoms that I actually really like. It's definitely a big moment when you tell somebody you love them, and I feel like there's nothing more important when you're in a relationship at this age than that. You know, like, that is the highest authority. It's like the going steady of our generation. Zoe uses prom as an excuse to keep dodging James until she could figure out her feelings. But poor guy, he is not happy about this. We go back to Quinn and Logan, and what do you know? Cotton Swab Girl is the perfect candidate. So Logan asks Stacy to the prom, something exactly what Quinn wanted. And I agree, that's like a great idea, and it doesn't make anybody uncomfortable. Logan seeks revenge and is like, okay, now I get to pick out your prom date. Guess who it is? It's Dustin. Can you imagine? So yeah, Dustin and Quinn are going to the dance together. James goes to talk to Zoe about what's been really going on, and she admits that she might not love him back and that there's something in the way. He's surprisingly patient. He's like, yeah, definitely. He's like such a gentleman in a way that I don't think any boy this age would actually be. Like, he's too respectful. And I'm dying to hear Zoe say she misses Chase. Like, I feel like that's the whole thing she's getting at, but it doesn't end on that. It ends on them breaking up, and that's kind of where we leave Zoey 101. Oh wait, there's one more episode. The grand finale of Zoey 101, Chasing Zoey Part 2. Before we go to the final episode, let's do a gameplay. So far, we're about to finish the season. We get barely any of Dustin this season. Nothing. Lola is in a relationship with Vince Blake. That was kind of random. Zoe had a relationship with James, but then they just broke up. That's also happening. Michael and Lisa are still together, and Quinn and Logan are still a secret. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be resolved in this episode, and a lot of stuff we're saying goodbye to overall in the whole show. This whole prom that they were talking about in the midst of the last episode is everything that the episode is leading up to now. Zoe's depressed about the breakup, which is cool because I never seen Zoe have a breakup before, you know? Like, it's definitely unfamiliar territory, and crazy that we're ending the show on an episode about something she's never been through. Like, I wish they just threw this in the plot. She's like definitely heartbroken and doesn't know what to do. Quinn and Lola are trying to cheer her up, but she says she doesn't even want to go to the prom. Dustin is getting way too old for this show, and you could tell because his voice has dropped significantly. He's here to take Quinn to the dance. For some reason, Quinn finds it necessary for one last time to throw a bomb at one of the robotics kids that are walking by. You remember them from the Robot Wars episode? Yeah, that's crazy. So everybody's gussied up and heading over to prom, and it's looking like a really sweet time. Dustin takes Quinn on his bike, and it is kind of adorable. I love how they are going to the prom together, and you get to see this moment in the opening title sequence. Oh my gosh, there's such a funny scene where Zoe isn't going to the prom, and the news guy hits on her, which is so ridiculous because he already has a prom date that is literally standing right there. So disrespectful.
I'll be your date?
You're taking Martha.
I'll get rid of her.
Jeremiah,
Yes?
go.
Lola is going to prom in a cab. It's kind of like a messy Uber driver situation where they have this driver, which should look familiar to you, talking on the phone the entire time and pretty much ruining their prom trip, not able to get them there at all. He abandons them on the side of the road. Guess who this man is? Yeah, that's Dan Schneider, the guy who created all of this stuff. I don't really want to talk about him because I feel like he doesn't deserve a lot of attention compared to the work he's done, but it is crazy to note that he's put himself in this, literally, the finale of Zoey 101. And I don't think I knew this growing up. I definitely don't remember him being here. This is quite the surprise. But you know what? That's him. You could tell his voice. Finally, we've come to the final prom. We get a moment with every character dancing with one another. Oof, Mark Del Figolo's in it. That's a nice callback. And Dustin is way too short for Quinn, so it's just plain embarrassing. You guessed it, Logan is dancing with Stacy, and it's embarrassing. Lola and Vince are on this big escapade to get to the prom, and they even run into the robot nerds who convince them that it is the end of the world. Well, not convince them, they say it's the end of the world and just appear crazy, because it's not, you know? And we get a really big surprise. Zoey gets a call from an unknown number on her pair phone. Who is it? None other than Chase Matthews. So Zoey and him have a really intimate conversation while she's alone at PCA, and it's kind of romantic. They're flirting a little bit, and Zoey does a really good job at dodging the fact that she just had an entire relationship. Chase realizes that it's PCA's prom night, so why isn't she going? He falls off the cliff one last time, the same way he did when he approached Zoey in pretty much every season thus far. And the two have a moment on the staircase where they're just catching up for a bit and eventually kiss. Oh my gosh, I forgot about all of this. I don't know why I didn't remember them finally reconnecting. Maybe because it was like within a couple minutes of the episode, not really about it that much, but like this is such a big deal. Like I'd like to see that it's finally getting its resolution. It has to do with Chase. I feel like Zoey kind of played him a little bit because she got in a whole new relationship right before she kissed him and didn't really talk to him about the relationship. It's really weird. Then we finally get the moment I've been waiting for where Quinn and Logan are outed at the prom. It's really sweet because it's Logan's thing to say. He tells everybody that he's in love with Quinn, and it's very romantic. Like all this stuff that was like low-key building up in this season definitely paid off in a really fulfilling way. I can't believe how exciting it is to see Chase again. Like it definitely reminded me of that 70s Show's finale where Eric Foreman wasn't in the entire 8th season but came in for the last couple minutes just to reconnect with Donna, the main character. I don't know, it just seems like it's a really romantic trope, especially in sitcoms, and having every character be here for this, maybe chasing everybody one last time, it feels full circle. It kind of makes me feel disrespected again for James because it's like, where is he? Michael's obviously super excited because he's been having traumatic repercussions of not having Chase around, and he has one last moment with the guy who taught him the stick shift, and he's really suspicious before he walks off on a goat or bull. I can't even tell what animal it is. All I know is that Michael is seen as crazy because Lisa does not believe he was taught to stick shift.
Would you please come tell my girlfriend that you really work here at PCA and that you taught me to drive a stick shift?
Oh, I can't do that
Why not?
because I do not exist.
But yeah, it seems like everybody that needed to get together got together, and it turned out okay for every character. Having them all reunite in the last couple of minutes is really wholesome. I feel like they did a good job at wrapping things up, especially considering how rocky of a ride the entire 4th season of Zoey 101 is. Like, we start out with Zoey and Chase having a long-distance relationship, then she gets in a relationship with somebody else. We stall for 10 episodes, they break up, they get together, and obviously there's some interesting things that go on in between it with Logan and Quinn, but this overall, like, such a good final way to end the series. Wow. So yeah, those were the 2-part episodes of Zoey 101. We also had a 3-part episode in there, which I was not expecting. But yeah, I'm sure you guys remember all of this just based on the commercials and promos alone, that Zoey 101 was a primarily double episode driven show. The major plot points all happened at these moments. But which one was your guys' favorite? Please let me know down in the comments.
They
brought you the biggest laughs in the universe.
Remember those Friday nights where me, you, and our neighbor Clarice used to gather around in the living room to watch the special 2-part episodes of television? Stories that just can't be told in simply 20 minutes. I went over Zoey 101 recently, and iCarly has the most double episodes out of any teen sitcom I've seen literally ever. I'm counting like 10 total. Everything from I Start a Fan War to the finale, even I Go to Japan, which was a 3-part episode. iCarly just never stopped. I think Nickelodeon just knew it was so popular and would only grow from there. So I thought, what better time than to break down every single special and see the evolution of where it started versus where it went. And I'm telling you guys, this is pretty surprising. Some really, really good specials are in this. But hey, I could talk about this all day. Let's just jump into the specials.
Stick around. There's more iCarly up next on Nickelodeon.
This November, the land of sushi and sumo
We're going to Japan!
will never be the same. I Go to Japan, a brand new iCarly movie, coming November 8th to Nick.
Yes! I Go to Japan. So this is ridiculous, because Season 2 of iCarly kicked off with the show's first TV movie special, I Go to Japan. It's like a supersized 3-part episodes. And it was ambitious, the gang leaving Seattle to go to Tokyo. And on paper it sounds epic, like Carly, Sam, and Freddie going on this big adventure to another place. Like, that's all fine and well. The idea that they, like, created a fake Japan already is a bad one, and they definitely didn't do any research on the appropriate way to go about this.
Did you understand any of that?
I'm not sure, but I think he called us dirty street monsters.
The idea of it being for this iWeb Awards, a big event that iCarly could finally be recognized for what it does, is exciting. I like that idea a lot. And I like the fact that we see our crew fly across the Pacific for this whole ordeal. And of course, every character being involved is perfect. Like, I like that Spencer's here. The only thing we're missing is Tebow. Why wouldn't they just put Tebow in here at this point? And it's one of those episodes where it's like everything that can go wrong does go wrong. The first class tickets get traded for sketchy seats in a cargo plane, which leads to them meeting this random man with a possum, and they have to emergency parachute jump into Japan. And once they're there, Carly and the friends, they fall for this rival group that's trying to trick them. Yoko and Yuki, who have like their own competitive
few extra towels and some unscented toilet paper.
They don't work here, crazy.
web show, and they basically lead them astray. It's weird because it makes Japan look like it's this scary, sketchy place, and if you ever wanted to go, you'll probably have to get on a cargo plane, jump out, and then nobody there is trustworthy. I mean, I know they're not trying to make a point about all this, but it's just fun to view in retrospect, you know? Spencer and Mrs. Benson have this whole side plot about taking a seaweed spa day.
Stop! What are you doing? I'm eating!
Eat faster!
I'm eating as fast as I can!
Getting wrapped in seaweed in the nude. And of course, it's as comedic as it sounds. It's literally them trying to get out of the spa, and everything just turns out well when Spencer decides they could just eat the seaweed to get out. I mean, weird resolution, but okay.
Getting closer to the light! There! I can touch it!
Good! Can you get out?
I think so! Yeah!
Hey.
All ends well. I'm not sure if this is a spoiler for being so long later, but the gang reunites in time for the chaotic award show showdown, and then they get this whole karate chop antic on stage. It's like a roller coaster of emotions. It's definitely pegged as one of the series' worst. Why? Because I pegged it that way. It's a little too cringe comedy. I mean, as a kid, you like the slapstick journey, but here, the fact that the cultural stereotypes, you could tell the writers just needed to get out of telling cultural jokes, so they focused on more physical comedy, slapstick. But the nonsensical plot is speaking for itself. Like, it just doesn't go as far as being like this great feature event that leads them into growing as characters. It's a series of tragic things happening, which is usual for a Dan Schneider show. If you've seen Drake and Josh, this essentially is every episode in a nutshell. Sometimes it even feels like this live-action cartoon, and not in the big time rush, Ned's Declassified Scott Fellows way. No, it's not that cute.
Honey, Higgles! Oh yeah? Uh-huh. What's up, what's up, what's up?
It's more Looney Tunes before they realized they had cultural sensitivities out there. And it kind of ungrounds the show for a little bit, especially since everything about it is so grounded. Like, it's this web show using modern day technology to go through something. That is exactly abandoned in this special. So it's almost like, and there's a fine line between funny and cringe. Like seeing Freddie, Sam, and Carly have to get all the way back to the web show after being abandoned on the side of the road. That's interesting. You even see Los Angeles City Hall as a Tokyo building in the background, so it's not like the editors were committed to making this accurate either. I just wish I didn't look back on this episode and was like, oh, that's the craziest iCarly episode. I wish I looked back and was like, oh, that's a cool special. Kind of like I am with the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. But this doesn't hold a necessarily important place in history, and it doesn't really make the image of iCarly look any better, even for the fact that this was its peak. Like, quality-wise, storytelling-wise, character-wise, they did everything right. So having this little bump in the road, as you would say, it took me out of it. Oh my gosh, in one scene, Carly's team is literally stuck in a hole in rural Japan. Despite the fact I hate this so much, the I Go to Japan episode drew in 7.6 million viewers, and that's like one of the highest rated iCarly broadcasts to date. Kids were excited to see the webcasters go on this international adventure, and since we didn't have a lot of online presence at the time to fact check any of this, it definitely didn't suffer at the time. It's more so like in retrospect, this was not such a great episode. I do think it's relied on the fact it's a spectacle to get away from the storytelling. Like, there's such high production value either because of a guest star or because of a current location that they almost expect the audience to forgive a little bit more than they're used to forgiving, because I don't forgive this anymore. But you know what? It's a TV movie. They have to have a reason to do it, I guess, is if I'm coming up with any excuse for them. So I'm not gonna harp.
Tomorrow, there's a new boy in town, and Carly's got it bad. But the only thing more shocking than her new boyfriend is her new boyfriend's shocking secret. Oh! Don't miss this shocking truth. In I Date a Bad Boy, tomorrow from 11 on Nickelodeon.
I don't know how much I could say about this one, guys. I Date a Bad Boy, I've covered like more than one time, probably because of seeing Griffin on this show and Hannah Montana always was jarring to me. The infamous episodes about Carly dating a bad boy. This whole trope going around in the 2000s where guys thought it was cool to be emotionally distant to their counterparts, and that's just the appeal of the times, I guess. So this whole episode is about Carly and Spencer fighting over the fact that Carly might be attracted to this kid. He's kind of a delinquent. He and Spencer are enemies, which is so funny that this grown man has an enemy like that. Like, that's so funny. Carly hangs out with a different person for the first time. Like, I don't know who this girl is, but they just had to have that happen. Spencer firmly disapproves of this relationship. And yeah, that just becomes the whole two-part episode. Actually, I lied. So Spencer and Carly argue pretty much until Spencer full-on threatens him, and then Carly ends up actually dating him. Oof, a lot of drama for a Nickelodeon show. Like, they don't usually do relationship drama. I mean, not as much as Disney Channel. These guys are usually episodic storytelling, like ending at the end of the episode. This is cool that we kind of see more in-depth into Carly and Spencer's relationship, and then Carly actually falls for Griffin until she learns he has and collects Pee-wee babies. Oh, okay. So the biggest flaw in this episode is that Carly doesn't want to be seen with a guy that collects Pee-wee babies. And this breaks my heart, guys. This is, if you looked at me like my VHSs were Pee-wee babies, then I think I would also be in Griffin's shoes. So I feel emasculated by this episode. So it just becomes about Carly trying to break up with him, and the Spencer plotline is almost completely thrown out. This is the one special that I feel like is completely written wrong, where it just knocks out Spencer by accident. It feels like two completely different episodes with one through line and nothing in between. I don't know how they organized it, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the way this was organized. So that's all I'm going to say about I Date a Bad Boy, Season 2, Episode 16.
So it wasn't an accident?
Obviously not. I suppose you're pretty angry.
Uh-huh.
But I bet you're gonna punch and kick Carly extra powerfully.
Yeah, I am.
Who could blame you?
Let's go, Gary!
Oh no.
I Fight Shelby Marks is the 21st episode of iCarly Season 2, and it's so funny thinking about this episode in retrospect, especially given the fact that we eventually got Iparty with Victorious. When this show was on, you were just thinking, like, that's Victoria Justice. Is she gonna reference her character? And this is the episode that almost disproves, like, that whole thing. Like, this is why I thought there would never be a crossover episode. When I was looking on the internet for updates about, like, when they're doing that new 90-minute crossover special, that was such a time. But yeah, I Fight Shelby Marks was something that made me feel like that would have never happened. So basically, the gang watches this girl, Shelby Marks. She's so funny that they tune into wrestling. Like, when would any of those characters be into wrestling? And they're obviously cheering for Shelby Marks, this girl that only exists in this episode and won't be referenced again. On the iCarly web show, Sam basically challenges Shelby Marks to a fight, pretty much referencing the Logan Paul thing that happened way back when. I'm not sure if you guys remember that. I don't really remember it, so look it up. I don't know. And yeah, basically, Carly threatens Shelby Marks through Sam's voice, and Shelby Marks literally shows up at her house. She's worried that Shelby Marks is going to beat her up, and it sounds like a comic book character name the more I say it. Shelby Marks. I can't even believe this. They take Shelby Marks really seriously too. Like, Victoria Justice is this character. Another reason why I can't believe in retrospect we're gonna have to go to iParty with Victorious. It's so annoying. It almost dates this episode so hard. But basically, Carly and her decide to do a collab. Oof, I like that these two-part episodes are like based off a collab with like another person. It's such an interesting way to raise the stakes in their community. Like, it seems like these kids are going through like really adult-like situations just through their social life. Oh gosh, to be an influencer nowadays, can you imagine? Everybody is promoting this Shelby Marks fight, and Carly's not worried because she's like, oh, obviously Shelby's a nice person, she's not gonna hurt me. And then Carly gives her reason to. In the funniest part 1 finale of a special like this, Sam accidentally threatens her grandmother. Carly literally falls on Shelby Marks' grandmother, making it look like she actually attacked her. So Shelby Marks says she is going to essentially beat up Carly. And it kind of reminds me of that SpongeBob episode where there was that bully, the Tattletale Strangler. Yeah, that's what this reminds me of, like this looming threat over Carly of getting beaten up. It also happened on an episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody at one point, but the fact that they put that in a 2-part episode, like her feeling threatened by this girl, that's the kind of intense plot. I would be scared too, especially if like she was like a big influencer or somebody with a louder voice than mine in the community and she like calls me out. I don't know, I'd be like scared. So yeah, they try to cancel the fight, one thing leads to another. Neville actually gets involved, helps Shelby Marks actually go through with challenging Carly, and oh my gosh, it's so funny. I actually forgot that Neville would be a part of this, so like just the fun fact that like he comes quarter of the way toward the end and he's already like such a big threat. He's like the promoter at the wrestling area. Like, what is this about? It's funny watching it be so performative because it does remind me of like a UFC fight or like some of those wrestling things that go on the TV nowadays. Yeah, like that's actually a thing that exists, so seeing Carly in this universe is kind of funny. The stakes of the web show aren't really the issue, it's more that Carly's worried she's going to die and runs out of the rink. It's such a funny way to end this special, but point is, they get along at the end, they make up, and they confront Neville, finally putting an end to this whole special. And I like this one a lot. It was definitely at the peak of iCarly, and one of the funniest cliffhangers ever is Carly pushing over Shelby Marks' grandmother. That is hilarious.
Carly and Sam have been best friends forever.
Who wouldn't want to go out with this?
But on December 5th, that friendship will be put to the ultimate test.
It might be nice if you showed a tiny bit of appreciation.
Appreciation? You already named the show after yourself.
In a brand new iCarly movie.
I don't even get why you'd want to be friends with me.
And back at ya.
Their biggest fight ever could be their last.
I can do iCarly by myself.
You can't do iCarly without me.
Is this the end of iCarly?
I'm so sorry. I accept your apology. It wasn't for you. It
was for that lady I muffin.
Find out in I Quit iCarly. The brand new movie premieres Saturday, December 5th at 8, only on Nick.
I Quit iCarly is one of those really fun ones where they definitely decided to commit to the bit. This is like iCarly at its prime. Nothing got too oversaturated, nobody got a little too mean to each other, and things weren't random, like they're still having normal plots. And this special is the best use of a 45-minute episode that I think I've ever seen in a kid's sitcom. It's just doing a good job. I like that it's Carly and Sam kind of at odds with each other as a friendship, because like the emotional stakes are so high in a way that has not happened super often in the show. So when it does happen, like Carly and Sam breaking up, it's actually a big deal and we have to talk about it. And it's cool because they're being mirrored by this other web show going on the internet called Fleck and Dave, and it's basically like Drake and Josh, and it's a comedy duo bit. Essentially they have their own web show and they're just as famous as iCarly, because it looks like the internet is just becoming one with our everyday lives now at this point. So Fleck and Dave come and do a collab with iCarly. So it's essentially the collab episode, I feel like. It does a better job than Iparty with Victorious, that's for sure, but we'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, these boys, they essentially mirror Carly and Sam, and they act very similar to them. So when they go through a breakup, their whole webcast gets threatened, and Carly and Sam both realize that maybe they are destined to break up. It's kind of cool because it's like they have like a little intervention. Carly gets to talk to one of them, so does Sam, and it's all about people like coming together and turning against one another. I don't know why. It's just like, it's the right amount of drama for the show while still being funny. And thinking that Sam is so self-righteous in the sense that like she's just completely correct about everything is so funny. I don't know why. Carly is also very likable in this episode because I feel like she tries hard as a friend and she's committed to her morals, which actually like paints her in a pretty good light. You know what's not painting me in a good light though is the whole B plot with Spencer and Gibby in the boat. I don't know why I would even go on for more than 17 seconds about this, but it's them having a boat. The end. Of course, Freddie is in between everybody once again. Like, this same plot kind of happened in season 1, where they broke up over like this sweatshirt for their friend anniversary or something. That was interesting because it really established like what kind of friends they are. Like, Carly is the dedicated, loyal, but also like responsible friend, and that's how she shows love. And then Sam is like the I'd rather just coexist, quality time over anything else. I don't know, they're very distinct friends that each have positives and negatives, and seeing it come out even during like one of their sketches of all things, cool moment by the way, is such a big deal. Like, this whole I Quit iCarly special feels like the perfect episode of iCarly. Them fighting over Freddie is probably one of the best parts in this because it's like, it's just funny to watch them get thrown around. This is also kind of like a nice break between the SETI drama, like Sam and Freddie, like Carly and Freddie. Like, there's a lot of discourse going on with them, but like to see an episode about the girls disagreeing on their own, that's a fun one. In the very end, Freddie, Sam, and Fleck and Dave finally get the girls up, proving that as long as the men take physical action, that's the only way things can get solved. Clearly. That's a joke, by the way. And they finally realize how much they've meant to each other. So yeah, that's a really good special. It also ends with this parody of like a fake horror film that's going to happen called The Winds or something. And it's the most dramatic and unnecessary video I've ever seen. But it would definitely be something I think would actually be funny on the internet. So they kind of won on this one for me. The realism here.
They've brought you the biggest laughs in the universe.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cracked you up all the way to Japan.
We're in Japan! Where's the sushi bar?
And delivered the most hard-hitting comedy on TV.
Ow!
And Saturday night, I Still Psycho will be the most insane iCarly of all time.
You guys just stood there while I was tampered with? Really good cake.
I Still Psycho, the brand new iCarly special premieres Saturday night at 8.
Ugh, iPsycho. You gotta admit, it's the end of an era. This is like the very tail end of iCarly being good. Season 2, episode literally 38. Yeah, there's 39 episodes in the second season of iCarly. And thank God it's this long because these are the best episodes. The plot is that the main cast is going to go to Webicon, this convention that hosts web shows, and it's probably for publicity. It's like a Comic-Con idea. I like that. That's a fun concept. So the crew is getting together to head to this Comic-Con. They learn about this sad, lonely girl named Nora through like a submitted video to them saying that she knows they're going to be at Webicon and to come to her house. She lives 15 minutes away, which is interesting. I'd love to be there for that Uber ride, honestly. So when they head out to wherever it is this convention is, she visits Nora Dershowitz. So yeah, then we see this like nice colonial-like home. Kind of reminds me of a place in the streets of New Jersey where I'm from. That's definitely a house in the suburbs. And the kids all have a party at her house. Yay! It's sweet because this girl apparently has like no friends or anybody that wants to spend time with her. Like even her parents leave the house just to not be with her. It's really, really depressing. Obviously, iCarly looks like the heroes of the situation. They're like, let's actually do a web show here at your party, get people to actually show up, and yeah, it happens, leading to the best night of Nora's life. Yeah, for the first time, she's getting attention from people at her school, and she has no care that it's the most shallow affection ever. It's like the most surface level, like, people liking you type drama. I don't know what to call it. Trina's in it for some reason. I'm not sure if the actress was just like there that day, wanted to come to set, because they don't really give her a lot of speaking lines, but they do give her speaking lines, and it sounds like they go to the same school. So yeah, iCarly, Iparty with Victorious is gonna be interesting when we get to that. The B plot is another Spencer and Gibby plot, which is like, why does this need to go on? I bet like 10-12 minutes of this whole episode is just them doing nothing. I wonder if we cut out all the iPsycho parts and only saw the Spencer and Gibby parts of this episode. That would be interesting. But imagine how empty it would be. Like, they're not doing anything. It is funny though watching Spencer attempt to do primarily masculine related activities, like fix this hole in his wall, but only makes it worse and worse, showing that he is not capable of being an adult. Kind of a sad reality to his character. He doesn't really try to change it, but I guess we're just gonna move on from that. Nora ends up keeping iCarly captive because obviously they want to go home, they want to go to Webicon, but she kidnaps them and locks them in the recording studio of her parents' basement. And it gets really scary really fast. Like, this is a real world issue of this could possibly happen to somebody. That's scary. Like, that's why mental health is really important. So Carly, Sam, and Freddie send a really ominous code in the form of a video to Gibby asking for help. And they're like every fourth word, and it's like the most complicated thing. I don't know how Gibby picked up on this. I would not have picked up on this. If my friend sent a video like this to me, I would have just blocked them. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to my friends. So yeah, Gibby basically pieces it all together, goes to Nora's house, assaults her in her own home. Wait, okay, hold on. Gibby kind of breaks in. Sure, we know that the people are actually like locked in the basement, so he's in the right here. But does Gibby and this girl really need to fight like this? It is so depressing watching kids fight. I don't know why they decided this had to be on Nickelodeon. These two like teenagers fighting, and Gibby taking off his shirt at the end. Okay, it's funny, it's iconic, but like, why? I don't like this at all, the way this is looking. It's so crazy to think about, like, would TV shows about teens really be about this? What would a teen show like this look like in this day and age? Like, I don't know. I can't imagine any kids going through this specific situation.
Jack Black has aced the School of Rock.
Enjoy the magic of rock.
Mastered martial arts as a Kung Fu Panda.
You never seen bear style.
And faced the slime at Kids' Choice. But on November 19th, Jack Black takes on iCarly.
You shall feel the wrath of 1,000 and one!
In a 1-hour iCarly movie event.
She bit my thumb!
I Start a Fan War with Jack Black. Premieres Friday, November 19th at 8 on Nick.
This next one, guys, I didn't even realize this was a 2-part episode. I thought this was just a 1-part episode. iCarly, I Start a Fan War. So this is, I think, a Webicon event taking place where IPsycho left off the year prior. I guess the group's finally going to webcomic. Carly has a crush on this guy who actually shows interest back in her and wanting to get to know her, but she's insecure about her relationship with Freddie. Yeah, this guy essentially kind of pokes fun at them and is like, hey, are you guys together or what? And if you're not, let me know. Yeah, I don't know. It is weird though, because it's like, why is Freddie just hanging out in her room? I don't know if that's appropriate for a teenager. So this episode is the one that like makes the whole series kind of meta. The guy Carly has a crush on shows up to the fan event to see iCarly be interviewed in the panel, which is actually kind of cool. It's cool to see that they've like risen to this much fame. But it quickly takes a negative turn when people in the crowd start asking them what's going on with their actual relationships, which is such a funny commentary on media versus reality. Hannah Montana never dealt with being criticized from the Miley perspective. I mean, maybe in the last season, but that's not the point. It's just funny here because it's like somewhat of a real life question. Is Carly and Freddie gonna be together? Is Freddie and Sam gonna be together? It like pokes fun at this whole idea, and yeah, Jack Black's in it. Okay, so yeah, Jack Black and Spencer have a whole B plot, but I wish it was a little bit more. It's like only them fighting in different costumes at this Comic-Con. And yeah, everybody's in one location for most of this episode. Sure, the characters are funny enough at this point. I like what's going on. iCarly, I just feel like, is getting a little bit more saturated at this point. We've lost that original prime of them getting to success, and now they're just so successful that the stakes are a lot weirder. The fans not liking them is their biggest concern, essentially. Carly ends up having this really big speech about not caring what the relationships are like, just care about the art they make. And it's so topical because it's like, wow, I wish we understood that today. Like, that is something we still struggle with. Overall, this was a really fun one, but really unnecessary, and I wish it was one episode. But hey, I'll watch Jack Black attack any day.
They've brought you the biggest laughs in the universe.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cracked you up all the way to Japan.
We're in Japan! Where's the sushi bar?
And delivered the most hard-hitting comedy on TV.
Ow!
And Saturday night, I Still Psycho will be the most insane iCarly of all time.
You guys just stood there while I was tampered with? Really good cake.
I Still Psycho, the brand new iCarly special premieres Saturday night at 8.
Yeah, another special. Something about iCarly is when they're given a 1-hour special, they choose to go nuts with it. Or in this case, a sequel to going nuts with it, going double nuts with it.
I'm kind of in the middle of a lunch date with Cassie.
I don't know, Cassie.
Of course, we bring back Nora Dershlit, this clingy, karaoke-obsessed fan who once kidnapped Carly and her crew in the basement. And she's up for parole. Despite Sam and Freddie actually wanting to let her go to prison, Carly is essentially trying to be a good person and be like, no, it's not fair. I want to see the good in people, which, you know, only comes out when it's convenient for the writers. And it's really kind of crazy how pathetic her life is because her parents are like, oh, we're not going to love her after this.
I guess it'll just be me, my mom, and my dad.
Sorry, I can't make it, baby.
Why not?
I want to go camping alone tonight.
So Sam, Freddie, and Carly start to see that their impact is actually going to ruin somebody's life. So they kind of cowered out of pressing any charges for when they, I don't know, kidnapped them? By the way, I feel like kids shouldn't advocate for themselves in this situation. Like, they were kidnapped. And even more irresponsibly, in a really annoying episode. They essentially copy and pasted this premise into this whole new special with a little bit of a different beginning and ending. I wish they called this I, Nora 2.0 because it's mainly her episode, and she's a really funny character. I feel like the actress does a good job at playing crazy, but it goes off the rails a little too much, almost to the point of like kind of mocking mental health or what it's like to be weird and different, with our heroes being the epitome of normal. Like, I feel like it's a weird moral issue here. And since the crew feels so bad for her, they end up going to her house to be a part of the party. Which, guys, okay, everything from here on out is kind of your fault. Like, it's one thing to show up and defend her, but are you really gonna take the extra step to go back to her house? So it seems like really normal, but it's still kind of awkward. And they're trying to find a way out of this experience. I don't know why they can't commit to doing something nice for somebody. They have to pretend they actually wanted to be here. I wish they just committed to like, did you want her free or not, guys? And of course they have to make fun of whatever culture they made up Nora to be by having Norwegian liver balls at this party, and it's really disturbing. Things go haywire when Spencer shows up trying to take the kids back home, and the mom tricks him into the basement where she ties him up to a spinning wheel.
Kylie!
Spencer!
Help! Help me! I'm on a wheel!
And this is just going a little bit overboard. It's not like people coming up with this last minute idea to like take these kids in and trap them. Like, you had to have had an entire wheel built in order to trap Spencer. So this must have been thought out somehow. It only makes it a little bit scarier. I don't know how else they could communicate the fact that these people are crazy. So yeah, Spencer's tied up to this thing and is rotating almost the whole episode, and it's kind of like a little torture sequence. It kind of reminds me of Saw, like the Saw movies, but this episode of iCarly would be a really funny escape room idea, don't you think? Nora goes haywire, stops every exit, and manages to trap the kids in her living room this time. It bothers me the whole time how Nora doesn't expect them to escape. She's somehow keeping them in, and I don't know why she's stupid enough to think that they wouldn't outsmart her this time. Although she does a good job at trying to fit security so they can't get out, but not enough that like they're able to stay. They trick Gibby into going up the chimney to try to get help, and he gets stuck there.
Fresh air, baby. Now I gotta get to the cops. And then Crazy Nora's gonna find herself back in prison where she...
So it's like everybody kind of has their own bit and comedic way of trying to get out of the stuck situation, but none of them can successfully do it. Not only that, the methods are kind of boring. Like, the different ways they take to get through it are really mundane and simple. Not like a Drake and Josh stuck episode where they're in the treehouse or stuck on the side of the road. Nope, it takes place in all one location. And if that episode of Drake and Josh couldn't extend into 40 minutes, I don't know why this has to. There were some outlandish jokes while the plot wasn't super interesting. And those are always entertaining, like seeing her tackle Freddy onto the table. Although when you realize the reality of the situation, it's almost not that funny. And I get it, it's a sitcom, we're supposed to suspend our disbelief, but here it's doing overboard again. Everybody's stuck playing party games, and there's no real point to any of it. And the thing that really bothers me is Sam pulls out her butter sock, and the audience claps as if it's a guest star.
I'll tell you what we're gonna do. As soon as those two freaks walk back in here...
No buttersock.
And I didn't know if we reduced ourselves to clapping for a sock with butter in it, but it's weird to me. The B-plot is interesting. It's a lot about T-Bow needing to stay with Freddy and his mom, but his mom doesn't like who he is normally, which is kind of disrespectful. Like, he's just a normal guy, and now he's pretending to be like a put-together businessman that has like the utmost respect, and Mrs. Benson is like falling for it the whole time. So it's all about him trying to keep up this charade in front of Miss Benson, and it kind of feels a little bit shallow because it's somebody that the main cast cares about, but not cares about enough to let him come clean, and Miss Benson is just downright against everything he's doing. It definitely feels like it could be racism. I don't know what else it could possibly be implying. I mean, maybe if this were a different race as T-Bow's part, it's definitely controversial. It would be one thing if the jokes kind of made up for it or were funny enough to justify it, but I feel like it didn't necessarily get there. I mean, it's nice how that plot wraps into Freddy's mom and T-Bow saving the day inevitably, because then they come together and they make up for whatever reason. But most of the episode, it's just a little bit annoying. They're only able to get out of the Nora situation by having Freddy enact this tracker chip in his head, in which Sam lasers him, leading Miss Benson to realize that they're in danger. So then they show up, everybody is trapped in the house, but it's quickly solved as Freddy's mom and T-Bow destroy the bad guys. And it's like, this was supposed to be a web show. A show about a web show, and now it's about kidnapping and breaking and entering. Jeez, guys. And I'm a pretty forgiving guy. I feel like a funny joke or two would let me just forget about all of it, but I just felt like Freddy's mom and Tebow's plotline was a little off base, and the A-plot wasn't even interesting enough to hold 40 minutes worth of time. Like, I feel like even in 20 minutes, this episode would have been below average. I do feel like TiVo as a character is really funny, and the situations he gets in. Like, I want to know the guy behind the juice stand, and have him be a person outside of it, as opposed to just another wacky adult character that backstory is super vague for no reason. Like, TiVo doesn't need that.
It says you must stay at least 100 yards away from some girl named Portia Sweet.
I keep accidentally calling him TiVo, like the TV, and I don't know why that keeps popping in my head. But yeah, the plot just mirrors iPsycho almost beat for beat, just with more people and louder stunts. Nora's parents being deranged is never really explained or mattering, you know, so we don't feel bad for her. There's no reason to have a miscommunication about this. It's just an easy jailbreak episode. The fight scene, although, is a fan favorite. I feel like a lot of people remember this part of the episode, but like I said, you don't need a two-part special to justify this kind of action scene. But yeah, no characters had a before point and after point. Nobody grew. It was just an episode for the sake of being an episode, which I guess is okay. It's a kid's show. Do what you want. As a viewer, I was like, yeah, this isn't it.
They're two of Nick's biggest stars and two of Nick's biggest shows, and they're coming together.
No way, you're iCarly!
In the biggest television event of the year.
It's gonna be good.
iCarly.
That girl Carly's really pretty, don't you think?
Meets Victorious.
Zoey? Who's she?
In Nick.
Okay, iCarly, Iparty with Victorious. I gotta tell you guys, this was meant to be a movie. This should have been in theaters. This was the premiere event that really defined Nickelodeon and took all these separate spin-off shows like Drake and Josh, The Amanda Show, Zoey 101. It's where they finally acknowledge two of the shows being in the same universe, therefore confirming the entire universe it exists in. So with that being said, there was obviously really high expectations that I can't take full accountability for. I never made them. I never said it was going to be a good special. I hoped it was going to be a good special. I definitely thought it was going to be better than it was. The whole idea of it being all taking place at a single party is not super fun. It makes me think we're not going to get like a lot of one-on-one time with the characters. There's not going to be a lot of growth or like plot twisty things to happen. But hey, I guess what am I expecting out of like a kid's sitcom? I was totally just there to laugh and have fun. Same thing with like Drake and Josh. Like they never tried to do anything super heavy. So now that they're doing an hour and 20-minute episode, it seems like it's gonna have to be super plot heavy, and that's what it is. Honestly though, the plot is really interesting. So Carly's dating this guy in Seattle, and this kid commutes from Seattle to LA, where Victorious is held. Hollywood Arts, everybody, that's where they are. And it turns out this guy is two-timing both of them. Kind of a funny way to reunite. Definitely not the same thing that happened in Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, that's for sure. I don't like that the whole theme song is a preview of everything that's about to happen. Like, they kind of give it all away before it even happens, which really bothers me. And there's no real character growth in this. It's about all of the characters and yet none of them. Everybody is given a super small plot line. Like Beck and Psychowitz's plot line, like it's literally just him trying to scare Beck. So it kind of feels a little bit more of a Victorious episode in the sense that it's like so outlandish, and it's never gonna not bother me that she was also Shelby Marks, that we literally just saw Trina in iPsycho. I don't even know what to say about this. It brings them together in like the worst of the ways. Oh, like Kat can't speak the whole special. I don't know. Everything's like, it just doesn't feel like it comes together the right way. And the fact that it's all about a boy makes Tori and Carly seem pretty shallow. And having them meet and kind of be against each other, well, first off, that's interesting, right? Because they were together barely on Zoey 101. They don't really have a lot of scenes together. Miranda Cosgrove and Victoria Justice are not like back to back a lot. Like, we think they are because we're always seeing promos or talking about nostalgia, but like, really, they're not in the same room a lot. So this is a big deal in that case, and the fact that it's for a guy it's just boring, honestly. The miscommunications of dating and having them go to LA just to spy on this boy is really exciting and fun. It's like the beginning of these road trip adventure iCarly episodes. I'm not sure if you remember, but in the later half of the seasons, they do take a lot of adventures, whether it's to Vegas, to New York. Like, they have a lot of like trips after like the first couple seasons, which I'm just now noticing. They don't even get to LA until like, I don't know, part 2, which is really annoying. They use a 20-minute episode just to have them talk and set up plot. So it's starting to feel like kind of a waste of time. I do like the adventure sequence of them getting plastic surgery so they don't look like the iCarly cast. That's a funny trope, especially considering like they're that famous where they'd even noticed. And I don't know, why is Gibby given the Drake and Josh hat? That's wacky to me. Oh, Trina's babysitting in this episode, which I also forgot. How is that going to be a part of this huge movie? Oh, and the plastic surgery is so abysmal. I don't even like know what to say about it. I like it being wrapped in with Kenan Thompson's house party. Like, that's definitely a fun reason to get a bunch of teenagers in the same room. Gibby and Kat have a moment to talk together, and this stuff happens later in Sam and Kat, I believe, too. So it's cool that this is like almost like the beginning of that whole relationship between the iCarly and the Victorious universe. The plot does get really interesting when Carly finds out that the guy she likes was literally dating Tori, catches him in the act of being with her, and she confronts her. And this is not fun. I wanted Tori and Carly to meet 10 minutes in, not 50 minutes in when we have 20 minutes left. I don't know what they're gonna do together. I just want to see them be like Jimmy and Timmy and like actually fight it out, but I know that's not really what this world's about. And yeah, so they decide to get revenge on this guy and somehow run into Kenan Thompson and Andre, which is crazy. Okay, it's a fun way to come together. It's just so ridiculous at points. I don't know. I feel like by the time they have a musical number, we've crossed completely into the Victorious universe. iCarly never has artsy musical moments. Not since the wedding episode, but that was a one-time deal. I don't know, I'm not here for it. I feel like it takes the fourth wall off a little too hard. It's like a worse iCarly episode. I don't know what else to say.
Coming soon, the final season of iCarly begins.
And I love New York!
And they're getting their big break on late night TV.
Here comes iCarly!
Get ready for something so shocking.
Well, that's hard to miss.
You won't believe your eyes.
The penalty for doing that is $500,000.
I Shock America. Don't miss the brand new 1-hour iCarly special. Only on Nick.
Oh, guys, going on to the last season, they kind of stopped doing this 2-part episode experience. The episodes got a little bit more sparse with only 10, 13 per season. The kids are getting older. The whole show, it's losing its regular touch. Even the writers are starting to not care at this point. Episodes just shift from being like 2 A and B plot stories like colliding by the end, and now they just become like one single problem, and the characters just going about it in such a crazy way. And yeah, that's kind of what happens. But this special, I would say, took a break from that decline in quality. Sure, season 5, it's late in the game. iCarly was going on for years at that point. You and I probably graduated, so we stopped watching. But iCarly kept going, and they had this episode that is pretty slept on. Probably because we were getting older at the time. We didn't watch as much TV, but this definitely deserves attention. It's called I Shock America, and basically Jimmy Fallon invites iCarly to go to his show. Of course, now he's a part of the iCarly universe. We never referenced him literally ever, and now he's just a part of the world, okay? The ever-expanding Schneider universe is crazy to me. It leads in this cross-country road trip to get onto Jimmy Fallon, and oh my gosh, it gets insane because Gibby drops his pants literally on live television, causing a massive cancel storm. Yeah, I bet you guys didn't see that coming. Gibby gets canceled. The whole iCarly crew is essentially canceled. And now they're just in New York City dealing with the consequences. And there's a lot of them. It actually is less about the stakes being raised and more about the issues getting deeper. They essentially get sued because of Gibby doing this, leading to actual legal trouble that the kids could get into. And I'm like on the edge of the seat concerned for these kids because it feels like such a real world problem. So now the cast is in New York and the problems are just so funny in a different location. They end up doing a webcast to try to apologize for the offensive act, but I don't know if you can come back from this. Like, this is kind of a big deal. I mean, isn't Gibby a minor? I don't know. This is all so insane. But I'm sure, like, actual legal issues could happen like this. I just don't think the situation would ever happen. Then they parody Seinfeld. It's kind of annoying, though, but whatever. Yeah, and it ends with them getting forgiveness from the whole public and live on Jimmy Fallon, so everything is forgiven, which is actually not that accurate anymore. I don't think they would be forgiven at this time. If this were 2025 and this happened, I definitely think there would be even bigger consequences. So yeah, I Shock America was something I was not expecting at all. But definitely worth the watch. Like, even now, if you feel like watching something sometime soon, put on this. It'll be funny.
Friday, November 23rd. It's the final episode of iCarly.
Wow, way to bring us all down.
And they've saved the best for last. Be here for the final web show.
What in the blazes are you doing?
I'm tickling your squirrel.
Join in on one last adventure.
Who's all handsome in his fancy tuxedo?
Me! And get ready for the ultimate surprise.
You need to meet our very special guest, my dad!
So Spencer's not her dad.
Don't miss the final episode of iCarly, Goodbye.
I love you guys.
Friday, November 23rd at 8, part of Thanksgiving weekend on Nick.
iCarly, Goodbye is a lot more emotional and actually pretty good than I remembered. I mean, the whole 5th and 6th season, quote unquote, were actually really far off from what it originally was like. Like, the whole two girls starting a web show just became a bunch of nonsensical, cynical characters just beating each other up essentially through a bunch of random teenage plot lines. That's all I gotta say about it. But the final episode was actually a really good departure from that. If anything, they tried to bring as much of the original identity back as possible. We start off at the school with Miss Briggs and Freddie, and it all feels very nostalgic to what it was at the beginning. Although I feel like it's hard to acknowledge that these kids have been in high school for like 6 years at this point. There's a lot of plots going on in this episode, of which I will summarize pretty quickly. So one is that Spencer is trying to fix up this motorcycle for his buddy Sacco, a friend that they've mentioned a lot of times in the past and for some reason don't mention at all in the revival. I don't want to talk about it right now though. And Gibby needs to get back his head. Yeah, he has a wax figure head he takes around that I wish I could explain to you in 2 minutes, but it's complicated. Carly's whole dilemma in this episode is she wants to go to a father-daughter dance, but her dad is not going to be able to make it in time. So she's kind of depressed this whole episode. Everybody really makes an appearance, like Lubert comes in, Miss Briggs, like I said before. It's nice to see a lot of familiar faces in this. A sad thing about it, though, is Spencer does end up so sick because of Lubert, which kind of fun callback, and isn't able to take Carly anymore, which is actually kind of sad. Meanwhile, Sam ends up facing Dan Schneider. Yeah, Dan Schneider plays a part in this finale, which is kind of insane because he also does the same thing in Drake and Josh. Oh my gosh, I never realized this. Spencer ends up pulling himself together to go to the dance, but it becomes way too sick to go, which is so sad for Carly. So Carly's pretty depressed for this final episode, as all main characters would be, and they play actually an interesting version of the theme song. We get a nice moment addressing Carly and Sam's relationship toward the end, where it's revealed that it's just always going to be a cliffhanger, like we're never gonna see it for sure, and Gibby goes crazy in the store. Gibby ends up walking away with a ferret, which is interesting because obviously he has it in the Gibby pilot, so I'm not going to talk about that. Freddie and Gibby try to cheer up Carly by dressing in tuxes and offering to take her to the dance, which is actually a sweet moment, but she doesn't accept it. kind of disrespectful, Carly. I feel like that was a nice moment. And her dad actually does show up, so everything kind of works out in the end. They end up going to the dance and even having a nice hat party at the end, kind of a reflection of the pilot episode. We think all the conflict's over until Carly's dad invites her to live in Italy with him, and then everybody's like pretty supportive of her doing that. And it's kind of sad. I feel like this would never happen today. Like, if you were an influencer making this kind of money, why would you walk away from it? I don't know, Carly. Carly and Spencer's dad even makes a guest appearance on their show, which is actually really sweet. And Carly says one final goodbye live on the internet, and it is really depressing. She says goodbye to Spencer in their apartment, and I feel horrible, but she's becoming an adult, and I guess when you turn 18, you automatically have different responsibilities, so she's not even going to take her time leaving. Which, by the way, I feel kind of bad for Spencer. He just did her entire room all over again with season 4's beginning, and now she's leaving. Like, what's he gonna do with a teenage girl's bedroom? Like, there's nothing they could do with that room. Everybody says goodbye to Carly one last time, and Sam gets the last goodbye, giving her her blue remote, symbolizing the true end. And we see a sneak peek of everybody's Twitter, oh my gosh, on the plane. And I'm on the plane right now editing this, isn't that funny? We get one quick snippet of the first moments we had of the characters in the pilot, which is actually really sweet. And Sam drives off into the distance, ending the episode. So yeah, goodbye. What a great finale and way to use a 2-part episode. There's been a lot of good double-length episodes and bad ones, with some of the best being Goodbye, I Fight Shelby Marks, I Shock America, and with some of the really boring and useless ones being I Start a Fan War, I Still Psycho, and I Date a Bad Boy. I don't know what else to say about these. All I know is that the strange history of iCarly specials is hard to ignore. The quality of I Go to Japan and I Party with Victorious are even more impossible to ignore. I can't believe they left that stain on our society. But I'm still happy these all exist. You know, like, I feel like it's nice to get the content, and it's just interesting what storylines they thought deserved to be longer than they were. Victorious had its fair share of extremely extravagant event nights. Nights devoted to new episodes, marathons, that led to cool guest stars.
Who's Freddy? My name is Chess Masterson.
Even crossovers that I have yet to get into. But there's no show compared to iCarly, who had 10 2-part specials over the course of its 100-episode run. Victorious is a little bit shorter than that, with 57 episodes total in its series, which is actually a lot more than Drake and Josh. So it seems like they only really had time for 3 actual specials, and I'm not including Iparty with Victorious. If you want to see Iparty with Victorious, I covered it in my iCarly special events video, so you'll have to go back to that. I'm not doing it again, guys. Point is, it was pretty disappointing, and I feel like if we're talking about actual Victorious-related double-length episodes, we can only really narrow it down to the 3. Freak the Freak Out, Locked Up, and Tori Goes Platinum, each from an individual season, with the 4th season not having any, but I think that's just because the production didn't expect to have more episodes to write. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can't help but notice when you put these trilogy of specials right back to back. But hey, let's get into that as we get into the specials themselves, shall we? Let's dive in to Victorious, the special episodes. What's up, everybody? It's Johnny 2000, focusing on 2000's TV, movies, media, and so much more. Starting with Freak the Freak Out, we have season 1, episode 13 of Victorious. And this actually was promoted as Victorious's first movie, so they set the bar really high, because this is not what I would define as a movie. Drake and Josh had the dignity of having a different title sequence, maybe like a cinematography point of view. They even took out a laugh track for one of their quote-unquote movies. This one is backpedaling a lot, starting already with our sitcom format, which is Trina in the house. Same laugh track, same everything, it's just a normal cold open. You'll notice they do this on more than one special episode of Victorious, but we start with Trina's plotline, which is genuinely just her having mouth surgery. Wow, I can't believe the stakes are so high for this one.
No!
Oh, I gotta get my wisdom teeth taken out.
And is told that she's going to have to be taken care of, which I guess will be Tori's goal. So it's just a normal day of class. They're doing some kind of weird acting exercise, which I never saw any of them show any aspiration to actually do the things they do in this school, outside of school.
Guess what Jade and I are doing tonight?
Except for a couple choice episodes, but for the most part, they just want this to be a comedy. And Kat informs the class that they're gonna go to Karaoke Dokie that night. It's this new karaoke bar, and it's, I guess, for underage kids. I don't know why that's served up like that. But yeah, I guess it's all just to have a good time. Doesn't have anything to do with the mouth surgery, but when we get to the bar, we are dealing with the actual stakes. It's a bunch of girls start hitting on Beck, and I suppose even though they're terrible characters, we're rooting for Jade, but she's fighting for her boyfriend, and these girls have no empathy for her. They pretty much stomp all over them. This is like their bullying grounds.
Hollywood Arts, the school for wannabes.
And they just entered their property. Tori is, of course, in the B plot, which should be the A plot. I don't know. She's just taking care of Trina, and Trina is not useful at all. She is just moping around, not being a very good patient, if you will.
My favorite!
Tori literally has to get on top of her at one point, which is not fair. I don't know how a grown woman is acting like this. It's almost 20 full minutes before we even get to these karaoke girls getting on stage.
Enjoy us. Enjoy my monkey fur.
And singing horribly. It's weird because it's like the halfway point of the special, and we're pretty much told that the main characters are gonna win this situation. The owners actually are related to the girls on stage, so it doesn't matter how good or bad of singers they are, it's their territory. This is confirmed, so the main cast is not welcome here. I don't know how this is a plot, or if we're truly losing. Like, it's not like this is a mainstay place that we even come back to after this episode, so I don't understand. It is cool though, because Jade and Kat get their first full-on musical number without Tori in it, and this is where that meme stemmed from. I think everybody can sing, which, by the way, they're all pretty good singers. Like, I don't think Victoria Justice is worse than either of them. Like, she just has her own style. Same like Miranda Cosgrove and Stay My Baby. Yeah, those 2000s classics, they were bangers. And this is somewhat relevant to the plot of Victorious. Like, I feel like using their skills to actually advance in life is a good plot. But yeah, still a weird way to end the first part of a two-part episode, is just finding out that these girls are not actually talented and that they're not going to be able to stay at this bar. We jump to part 2 of the episode, and the theme song is very, very minorly changed, with literally just a graphic popping up. Oh my gosh, guys, at least pretend like it's gonna be a special. Like the first one, it starts in the Tori Vega household. Her friends all come over, Beck, Andre, and Robbie, to tell Tori about what's going on at this nightclub. But Tori's still taking care of Trina, which is still not that amusing. It's just Trina acting like a spoiled child and Tori trying to help. So Kat and Jade show up as well, and they basically are like, okay, we have a plan to keep Trina under control, and you come with us and upstage these girls, which, by the way, you guys already know you're all talented, and more talented than them, at least, and I guess they still feel the need to prove themselves, whatever. And the stakes do get somewhat raised, so we get back to the karaoke bar. We don't really see what's going on with Tori. It's just pretty much Ariana Grande as Kat making a bet with these girls that they are allowed to stay here as long as they win this singing competition, and they get to choose anybody in the bar to do it against these girls. And it's like, the girls are already bad, so I feel like even if it's not Tori in a disguise, a really ugly wig, that they could still pull this off. But no, they do choose to go with that effect. They bet Jade's boyfriend, which is so funny because it's like clearly not intended to be that, and I don't know why. That's just like the funniest part of the episode for me. The girls sing, they have a really horribly awkward performance, okay, fine. And then Tori comes up dressed like a slob.
What's your name up at the mic there?
Louise Nordoff.
And you guys know this historical scene when she takes off the wig and slowly starts being good at singing, which, by the way, I don't think your outward looks ever have to do with your quality of singing, but okay. And I can't help but wonder if this would have been the perfect break point. Like, Kat actually betting everything on the line. Like, give us a reason to come back for a second part of this episode. Like, the awkward break in between, like, them being good at singing was weird. Like, it doesn't really have you come back for more. But I guess that's why Nickelodeon aired this as a full, quote-unquote, movie, because they didn't want you to actually not wait during the commercial breaks. They just wanted you to sit through this whole thing, which is kind of cheap. Whatever, Nickelodeon. So yeah, Tori sings the main song, Freak the Freak Out, which, by the way, when this special was announced, I don't know what I was going to make of it. I couldn't tell what it was going to actually be about back then. I mean, I was optimistic. I was, like, watching all the previews, being like, okay, so maybe it's, like, bars taken down and everybody has to fight to get their rights back, but it's a lot more low stakes than I remember it, and the entire special is named after this specific music number. So I guess it is a good excuse to sing for 3 minutes of the plot, but I'm still here questioning why I even have to watch this for an hour. Like, this could have been done in a 20-minute episode, let alone not advertised as this huge special. It's definitely celebratory. Like, I feel like it puts some really good vibes in your steps when you're watching it. Like, I feel like that's what people fondly remember this special as. Like, I get it. People are very nostalgic, especially for musical moments, very High School Musical-esque, having your favorite character jump in and sing, but it seems like the context here isn't really earned or even notable to even have a giant event about itself. Whatever. I'm disappointed rewatching it knowing what it could have been, and I'm easily explaining to myself why it felt like a letdown at the time, so thank you guys for bearing with me. Freak the Freak Out is definitely like a 5 out of 10 of even a Victorious episode. I feel like if you gave me another episode of Victorious, I could show you how to break it into 2 parts, and it'd be actually like really interesting. Like that one when they're in the giant cupcake going through the bad neighborhood. That was a lot going on.
What street are we on?
Yeah, what street?
Let's just say it ain't Sesame Street.
I love Sesame Street. Sunny.
No! You guys get what I'm going for, right? Like, weird way to start it off, and let alone in the first season. Like, you're telling me you're setting the whole groundwork for this entire series about a musical high school, and the biggest thing that happens is they're getting harassed by a local bar that they're not gonna actually go back to anyway? Yeah, I don't think I needed it. And then Trina, her whole plot, like, started out this entire special, had the whole thing, like, running for a little bit, and now it's just kind of aside. They're just kind of, like, pushing it to, like, a C-plot almost, with all the boys trying to take care of her, and it's not like there's a moral lesson or even a resolution to what she's going through. I feel like it's just them harassing Trina and the audience kind of going along with it, which, by the way, feels a little bullying to me. But okay, yeah, that's Freak the Freak Out. Let's move on to the second season and see if they actually made their follow-up special something that is a really movie-worthy event. Yeah, it's Locked Up, parts 1 and 2. And this is particularly disappointing because it would be one thing if, like, you took the Drake and Josh Goes Hollywood, you know, like you have the 2 boys leaving their normal set to get involved in this high stakes adventure, and that's kind of what you think is going to happen. You're like, okay, Locked Up, I'm looking at the previews, it seems like Tori and friends are gonna get stuck in another country, forced to sing, and they're trapped. Yeah, you are right for the most part, but it's not quite leaning to Drake and Josh Go Hollywood, it's leaning to another special that I think we all don't remember too fondly. I Go to Japan from iCarly.
Konnichiwa. O genki desu ka? Hai, arigatou. Hajimemashite.
どこで日本語を習いましたか?
I ate soap.
Again, I cover this in the iCarly video. It was a 3-part special, so they actually felt like it needed to go on that long. I don't. But Victorious is taking that trope of the main cast leaving into a third world country where they don't really know the culture or what's going on.
And look.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh, White Sand Beach.
Computer.
And it's all about them surviving those circumstances. Not terrible on paper, but the way they execute it, having it be more about the joke of it all as opposed to them actually being genuinely confused in a new place.
So, the swimming pool here is currently filled with ammunition.
It seems like we're turning to mock the entire culture of the place.
Get your hands off my boyfriend's head!
Luckily for them, they made up a place this time. Instead of going to Japan, they go to a place called Yerba.
Yerba.
Yerba? Yerba?
It's a very exotic island.
Like Hawaii?
Sure, yeah, like that.
Okay, that's actually definitely better than the first special. I feel like we're off to a pretty good start right from the beginning of this. I want to say it starts out as pointless as the Freak Out special, but no, it starts out with Tori and friends actually having a conversation with the food truck guy in their normal hangout. It's not Trina literally getting told she has to go to surgery and everybody dealing with that. Like, it's not just a simple episodic plot. This guy actually feeds information that they need a group of singers in this country called Yerba to actually get a free resort stay, and everything will be accommodated in this place. It feels like it's kind of mocking the idea of people being from different countries with this guy and how Tori interacts with him, but hey, I'm just lucky it's not Trina's mouth surgery. I'm gonna emphasize that one more time. This part kind of bothers me though. Like, they do have the theme song, but they replace it with clips from the special, which you think would be a positive, but honestly, it feels like it cheapens the whole thing because they put the trailer for the rest of the plot in the promo. And it's like, I already know what's gonna happen before I see any of this go down. Like, I want the fact that these cast members go to jail be a big reveal and something actually interesting happening. But no, it's not that. So Tori and her friends embark on this trip to Yerba with Psychowitz, of course, taking them because we need an irresponsible adult to somehow put the kids in danger. I feel bad for this man. And yeah, he escorts them to the country, and he's heard of this country before, so maybe that's gonna be a good sign. Oh wait, it's not.
I spent 2 weeks in Yerba when I was 23.
Cool. So what's it like?
I remember nothing of that trip.
So they get to the country and immediately it feels like I Go to Japan, where none of them are used to the customs. Everybody is pretty much making jokes about how the hotel is set up, and the bellhop, who kind of resembles Lubert a little bit from iCarly, is trying to get them into this whole space, but they're not having it. Everybody there is like sketchy and apparently worth investigating, with the army coming running in, attacking our main characters right off the bat. So that's kind of cool because we're actually establishing that this place is dangerous. They need to have guards here on duty at all times. I'm definitely feeling worried for these kids, but the kids are just joke after joke, just having fun with this place. It's not like character-based jokes, it's more situational based, and it's kind of dismissing the regular plot, which is actually kind of interesting. Andre ends up getting bitten by some weird fly and has a tumor for the rest of the plot. I can't believe that's even a thing.
Being bitten by a vampire moth is very good luck.
It says here that a bite from a vampire moth could kill you.
Yes, but if you live, you are very lucky.
Basically, like, they're all worried about Andre's well-being, and it seems like they're all joking about it more than they are actually worried about helping him. Then they end up having to share a same bed based on your gender, and Robbie is thrown in with the girls, which is not as funny as it used to be. Like, that's kind of offensive now to just assume his gender. I don't think we're there anymore. Point is, these guys are trapped in this new place, don't know how to go about it, and hopefully everything is going to be solved once they get their whole singing situation through, and then they could just head on home. But oh well, Andre is actually suffering this whole episode, and you feel horrible for him. The rest of the cast you don't feel that bad for because it's like they're just genuinely acting ignorant this whole time. And yeah, none of the other actors are helping super well. I do like a lot of road trip related movies, so taking the characters out of their normal habitat already gets you a lot of points for me. So seeing all this go down is actually kind of entertaining. I definitely think it's such a step up from Freak the Freak Out until we actually get to the main event, which is the character's performance. So Psychowitz is getting ready as everybody else gets their sparkly tops ready to perform. Everybody except for Andre, who is being taken care of by this 15-year-old boy doctor. What? Okay, this is crazy. I don't know any country where it's like you need to be 15 to be qualified to take care of somebody like this. The stakes get raised when the dictator of Yerba will be at their event. Yeah, so they have this full-on performance, and Andre is at front and center, and despite his disease, I don't know why they would think he could still perform after what the doctor just said, but then again, he's 15.
How is he, Doc?
And they play one of my favorite songs in the whole series, actually. It's All I Want Is Everything, and it's just such a hype song. Definitely they use these specials as an excuse to play a full 3-minute song, which for me, honestly, I don't like when they try to fit it into a 20-minute episode, so this is pretty acceptable, but it's given me vibes of the last season where they just gave up on this. They didn't even care that they were taking up 3 minutes of singing. Example, Five Fingers to the Face, one of my least favorite experiences in a teen sitcom ever. I hated that musical number. But the whole special ends on a really crazy cliffhanger where Tori is told she's gonna be going to jail for kicking her shoe up and hitting the dictator. That's a great way to end a first special. If you didn't make the whole theme song about them in these jail clothes. Yeah, they literally gave away this whole mid-episode plot line just to show us that they're gonna end up in jail. You convinced me to watch the next episode, guys. You don't have to keep convincing me. So yeah, then we jump into the next episode, get a quick little recap, and the boy doctor is back checking in on the Prime Minister, which is super funny.
Doctor, how is his eye?
Yeah. We see Tori in her jail garbs, literally ready to be taken away. She's given a lawyer, but he's not super helpful. But at least this time we're in for the ride, and we know that it's not going to be a low-quality special like Freak the Freak Out. It's still got some promise. We're thrown into the jail with all these teenagers, and nobody here is safe. Everybody's worried about their concern. It starts out with just Tori being arrested and everybody talking to her from behind the bars, which is kind of funny. Seeing Jade actually react to prisoners and not be afraid is definitely on par for her. Like, seeing their characters stretched in these settings definitely makes it a lot more fun.
One time, when my brother was in prison, he told the people in charge that he was a vegetarian, so they gave him special meals.
Psychowitz and the friends actually try to get Tori out of there, and they have like a little speech on like why they care about her, but nobody can really get something positive out.
I mean, is she a perfect sister? No. Is she the prettiest or most talented girl in the world? Not by a long shot.
I don't know why this is like a moment of character realization. They introduce that the Chancellor has this squid that is his near and beloved animal. I can't believe I've never seen this in a sitcom. I think that's really funny though, like such a specific animal. Kind of reminds me of the episode of Drake and Josh where they get a chimp. Like this feels like very like random animal input into a TV show type vibes. And yeah, so they end up killing this poor little squid, and the dictator is furious, putting them all in jail. And it's kind of a weird commentary on like going to a country where they just make up rules just to make up rules. And I'm not super cultured enough to even speak on this, unlike the Victorious cast who believes they can like pretty much add their own commentary. This is really out of left field for me. Like I don't think they actually did research into any country's customs to even parody. Like that's the thing, it's like it gets a little offensive when it's close enough like another culture to seem like it's parodying one of their laws, but they didn't. It's kind of reminding me of like Russia, Soviet, like that's what I feel like they're actually going for. And this is when everything kind of gets resolved. Tori is like, okay, we're just gonna allow us to do another performance, and if it's good enough, like, let us out of jail, okay? Yeah, that's fine. Freak the Freak Out ended the same way with a big musical number, and I like that this is almost the second number in it, so it kind of takes all the hype off the first one. And yeah, they do a full-on number and manage to get such roarous applause that they convince the Chancellor that they're worth going free. That's not even how it ends. Okay, no, so the performance goes well, but then the prisoners try to escape, and Tori and her friends do so as well. So I guess they just ditch all their fellow prisoners and head out from Yerba.
They're gone!
With one last sign of saying no escape, and we never revisit this again, which, by the way, I think a country would like actually find a way to track down this person. I don't think these kids would be scot-free after that experience, but hey, I'm just grateful we're not getting another Freak the Freak Out. So the second season did come in clutch for us with this special, and I'm happy because honestly it could have been so much worse. iCarly did such good specials in its first couple seasons that it makes it hard to like view this on its own and not be like disgusted.
disgusting한 냄새가 나요.
But hey, we're gonna let them slide on this one, especially since we have only one more special to look at. Yeah, I know, Iparty with Victorious came in between this and that and our finale episode that we're about to cover, but we're not covering it. I guess the only thing we should really note is the continuity of all these specials. Sure, there's 4 total, but the third one establishes that all the kids are friends, I guess. There's really no continuity. So Tori Goes Platinum is the finale episode, quote unquote. It actually was supposed to be the finale of the first 13 episodes of season 3 and then end there, but they got renewed for a 4th season, allowing them to do 13 more episodes. And they didn't care to try to conclude it in any way. They just had fun in the 4th season, I guess. It's very reminiscent of Drake and Josh because their finale was Really Big Shrimp, and that was supposed to be the finale, but they ended up airing 2 episodes in between that. Victorious doesn't have that exact story, but in this moment, they tried to end with a 2-part special. And same thing with Drake and Josh. It's the first time that Drake musically is relevant and his career actually plays a part in the plot. And the same thing with Victorious. Tori is going to get signed to a record label. Actually a pretty interesting ending episode plot. But again, the fact that this whole show is supposed to be centered around performances and things that involve an art school, it does kind of shock me that this isn't the first 2-part episode. Like, why is Freak the Freak Out like our first special when this could have been an actual like realization and career movement? Like, at this age, I would have been inspired by stories like that, not just inspired by kids making fun of each other. I can't believe how similar this is to the end of Drake and Josh, actually. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. My favorite part of this whole special is the addition of Mr. Sheffield, the actor that plays Mr. Sheffield on The Nanny.
Mr. Sheffield. Oh, Mr. Sheffield. Oh, Mr. Sheffield. Oh, Mr. Sheffield. Oh, Mr. Sheffield.
Plays the record producer in this episode. And it kind of mimics the way it goes about in the pilot, where it's about talent being seeked out and everybody wanting Tori to be the highlight of the whole school. So everybody auditions for this record producer, and he is so picky. He doesn't like any of the students at Hollywood Arts, which, hey, I may not love the show, but you can't argue with me that they're not incredible singers. Like, if I saw all of these audition tapes that Mr. Sheffield is going through, I would probably make them all famous.
Cruise ship.
Oh my god, they have a Miranda Sings reference, which I find ridiculous. I can't believe they even included that. That's so crazy. Seeing Sinjin have a tape in there is even funnier because it's like, you do realize he has to go to this school for a reason. Like, what is his actual talent? I think you'd see him doing a lot of tech-related things, but that's not enough to get into this entire school based on what they talk about. I really would like to know if there's like other trades here, because when I went to high school, it was also a trade school, so I kind of know what it's like to expect a certain curriculum. So this guy, this record producer, shows up to Tori's school to personally ask her to come audition. Oh my gosh, she's freaking out and everybody's super excited for her. But for me, I'm like, who just lets a Hollywood producer enter a kid's high school full of minors? Like, that's not appropriate. Once you get to a certain age, you can't just waltz into a school. Knowing all we know now about the film and record industry, I don't think it looks good on their part to just enter like this. But it's kind of saying something because that is really the mentality behind it. Like, people just looked at film and TV as such a high regard that they would just let people break rules just to abide by that. It's ridiculous. Tori and her friends all go to the record producer's office, and I can't believe how supportive these friends are. Like, I would be so upset if I auditioned for this, didn't get it, my best friend got it, and I just went with her to the production studio. Like, that would be crazy. The record producer is pretty insistent that Tori needs to be famous, but the only way to do it is if she rebrands herself. So Tori comes into school the next day as this pop diva, and it kind of feels like the story of Kesha, where it's like Kesha was this really good singer that just straight up made bangers, but people reframed her to be a certain way in order to get a record out. This was very common for the 2010s. That's essentially what Tori's going through here, but her commitment to it is consistently tested because she has to act the part just as much as she has to wear the clothes. So that means being disrespectful to her friends, actually isolating herself, and being a complete jerk. Oh my gosh.
My salad!
this kind of actually reminds me of a copy of the Hannah Montana episode where Miley was worried about being rebranded, and so she had to create a new image, and that image was also goth. I don't know why we did all this goth tropes where it's like somebody would come into the set and they would be the goth character, the emotionally hidden one. The episode ends on her creating a complete standout moment that actually makes her lose all of her friends and family because of her attitude. And then they give us a little preview on what's going to happen next episode, but I'm pretty invested. I do think this is what a normal episode of Victorious should be, but hey, it's never too late than the final episode to do a plot that's really relevant to the show. But yeah, so basically we start with Tori separate from the class. Like, the class is actually talking about her now, which is kind of depressing considering most of the episodes is them making fun of other people, and now it's like the girls turning on her. That's kind of interesting. So nobody's really comfortable around her anymore, and you feel really bad for Tori because she's tried so hard to just fit in, and she's just trying to fit in her new career. Like, imagine me or you became YouTube famous and we just wanted to make sure we had successful things. Like, of course, like, it's all about how far are you willing to go to be successful, but like, the moral of this whole thing is don't ever leave behind loved ones, which it's kind of randomly deep for a Victorious episode, which is what makes it feel so jarring. You're like watching this and you're like, oh, is Tori gonna make the right decision or the wrong decision? Or is it gonna end up like a regular Victorious episode where one of the characters just betrays the other? One of my favorite bits though in this special is Kat having to not eat any more Bibble, that little candy treat. Maybe just because I like candy, I can relate to it.
I like it. I went back and bought 2 more sacks. I think I might have a Bibble problem.
But she literally has a bodyguard follow her throughout the school, and that's just crazy.
Here's some Bibble to tide you over.
No Bibble for Cat.
No Bibble for Cat.
Beck and Jade are not dating in this, which is a really important note, actually. Like, that is one of the big consistent character through lines that this show even has, you know, like Tori and Beck, and then Beck and Jade. Like, it actually provides a lot of interesting ships, and he's the only one that's actually supportive of her, making Jade actually get really furious with her. Now, Jade and Tori's relationship gets really strained because not only is she a horrible person and kind of mimicking Jade's whole look. Let's face it, the only other person that acts like that is Jade. I don't know why they didn't just choose her for the record company. So Beck, Andre, and Robbie are the ones supporting Tori, which is actually really sweet. The friends come in, even though she's been kind of a jerk to them, and try to help her actually go through with performing at these music awards without letting anybody down. Tori ends up deciding that friends are more important than the music awards and standing up to the record producer. And you think this is like supposed to be the resolution to it all? Like, Tori is finally getting everybody on her side? Great. Like, this is going to be a very honorable way to end the series. But then Jade steps in and decides to take her place, so she literally sweeps the part from under her. Oh my gosh. There's a really prominent moment where Jade actually sees Beck and Tori on the webcam and sees them talking, and they're about to kiss. And oh my gosh, if I were Jade, I would be freaking out. This would break my heart. I feel like she's like really holding it together because it's concerning. She sees that Tori's actually a really good friend, and this kind of makes her act better. So Jade, after she sees that Tori is a loyal friend, she decides not to go out there. She literally decides to be the bigger person and lets Tori go out, completely betraying the record producer and sabotaging this entire music TV award show, which, by the way, can you imagine actually doing something like this? Like, you're on Nickelodeon and you fully go out in a completely different costume. Like, that would be insane. Jade ends up doing the right thing, which is really sweet. She kind of earns the right to date Beck again, I would say, just through her characteristics. Tori, like, respectfully stepped down from that relationship, and it makes you feel like a lot better about how the cast treats each other, because we've seen them in really poor, ridiculous times together, but this time they're actually coming through for one another, and I wish the series ended there. Like, this is the final 2-part episode that could have ended the whole show, and they just didn't let it end there. And that's fine. You know, obviously, all is said and done. We got 13 extra additional episodes for an otherwise canceled show. It's such a long way this has come, from going from Freak the Freak Out to Locked Up, then Tori Goes Platinum. It sucks because I hate to say this, but it feels like these are just less impressive iterations on the same plots they already did in iCarly and Drake and Josh. I Go to Japan is easily Locked Up, like in a nutshell. Then Tori Goes Platinum is easily Really Big Shrimp in a nutshell. Freak the Freak Out is the only thing that I feel like was the most unique about this show, and it was the worst special. Yeah, so I can argue that none of these are even original ideas, and that's like the really frustrating part for me, because like you want the show to succeed so bad, and you see that all the elements are there. You know, you have great catchy musical numbers, really cool character moments, and hilarious comedy beats, but the story itself is just abandoned at every chance it gets, only to make the character moments more important and just try to get the funniest bit out of everything going on, which is such a cheesy way to go about things. It feels like they're just rushing to get out as much content as possible. And you know what? It's not as bad as Sam and Cat. Sam and Cat is when it really goes off the hinges, but this is the beginning of the end for sure. And I'm curious what you guys think of any of these specials. I know they're very high regarded in retrospect from when they came out. Each season had its own 2-part episode. You had a special event night given to just this show, and it only happened 3 times throughout its run, so it's supposed to be a really meaningful endeavor, but did it really end up that way for you guys? Like, honestly, go into the mirror tomorrow morning, look at yourself in the face, and ask yourself, were you really satisfied with any of these 2-part specials? Please. And tell me in the comments below. If you want to argue against me and tell me that Iparty was victorious and all these specials are probably the best TV events of your existence, then you know what? I don't know what else to say to you. All I could say is you should probably unsubscribe to my channel, because those opinions will not be met here. Actually, no, it's nice to have haters sometimes. I think it keeps the balance a little bit healthy. So yeah, if you see Johnny 2000, send it to some haters. See what they say about it. Thank you guys so much for watching and joining this series of going over the individual specials of TV shows. It's been a lot of fun to kind of isolate them from the rest of the series and view them as their own entities. It was just nice to have you guys join me for this journey. So until next time, until the next series, until the next installment, thank you guys so much for joining me. This is Johnny 2000, focusing on 2000s movies, media, and so much more. Have a great day, everybody.